That's case number 559 on the calendar, the matter of Howie versus Revels. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Mr. Howie, how long have you and your wife been married?
4 years, going on 5 years.
And you have one child?
Yes, ma'am.
How old?
Our child is 4 months old.
Defendant is your former girlfriend. You have a child with her who is now 12 years old. Is
Yes,
that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You and your wife get along?
Yes, very much.
You may have to tell her to butt out of your business. That's going to be a hard thing for you to do.
Yes, ma'am.
But I read your complaint, and that's eventually what you're going to have to tell her to do. Butt out. Because this is your complaint, which I have a sense that would not have been brought were it not for your wife. You were moving from one location to another.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant moved into your old place. Is that right?
That's correct.
And there was some furniture there. According to your wife, because she wrote the complaint, you loaned her the furniture, said you could use it. And then you left and you moved to your new location, where you still reside.
Yes, ma'am.
And you also left the cable on in your name.
That's correct, in Kristen's name, my wife.
And she said she would take care of switching it over. You eventually did switch it over. And there was a cable bill for a couple of months. How many months?
It's 2 months.
Which is how much?
$367.57 from the collections.
Right. From collection.
From the collections now, because now it's
Okay.
in collections.
Some of that was her bill.
Don't speak! And you want the furniture back. Now, there's some convoluted story that you went there and didn't take the furniture back, left it there, and now she hasn't returned it to you and you've asked for it.
Yes.
But this whole thing came about because probably your wife had a baby. There was a lot of money going out. You haven't paid child support in a while. They're taking your tax return.
Yes, ma'am.
So your wife said, now you're going to sue her for the furniture. That be a fair statement, Mr.
It's,
Howie?
you know, it's pretty close.
It's pretty close. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out, sir. That's why you have to tell your wife to back off. This 12-year-old child has nothing to do with her.
Exactly.
Nothing to do with her. And anything that's done since I assume that for 12 years or 11 years, before you got involved with her, before you made another baby with her, everything was okay with Miss Revels and your child.
Absolutely.
You enjoyed a reasonable relationship. You even asked her to move in. There was no animus for a very long time.
No, I'm not saying that. This has nothing to do with my 12-year-old daughter, though. This has to do
It
with...
has everything to do with your 12-year-old daughter, sir. You go to court when you haven't paid child support because you have a new baby.
Well, I will pay mine.
And you have new responsibility. Before you had a new baby, a new responsibility, and a new wife, you paid your child support when you were supposed to. You did what you were supposed to. You lived close to your child.
Yep.
You know, I could write this book even though it's not in here, Mr. Howie.
Oh, listen,
I've been in family court for a very long time, sir. That's what happened. You had a wonderful relationship with your child. You had a decent relationship with the defendant. You paid your child support when you were supposed to. You decided to have a new life. You married this lady. You and your wife decided to have a new child. And then all of a sudden, new wife says, money's going out. That's not fair.
Your Honor, I mean, with all due respect, she owes the money.
The cable bill's
That
in
has
my
nothing
name.
to do with
Listen to me. I'm not talking about the cable bill. I'm talking about the furniture. The cable bill she knows she owes, right?
Yes, you're right.
So she doesn't owe me for the furniture because I owe her child
Mr.
support?
Howie.
I mean, she can't
Mr.
have
Howie,
both, right?
I don't think she agreed to buy the furniture.
You're right, she didn't, but where's it at? She
Just
never
a
gave
second.
it to us.
I don't think she agreed to buy the furniture. If you say, I sold her the furniture for $500 and she didn't pay it, that's a different story. That's not what you say here. And what I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Howie, is you're going to have to tell your wife to back off, that it's none of her business.
Well, the furniture was my doing. That's me. It's my furniture.
You can't have it back.
Well, shouldn't I
You
be
can't have
compensated?
it
I don't
back.
want it back. I just want to be compensated
You're
for it.
not going to get compensated for it. You're not going to get money from her for it, especially if you tell me I don't want it back. Say, I don't
It's
want
gone.
it back.
We tried
to
getting
get
it
it
back.
back.
It's
Just
gone.
a
Your Honor, they
second.
have not.
Just a second. Especially if you tell me I don't want it back. I want to be compensated for it. When was the last
Well,
time?
I'll take it back if
Hey,
she'd give it back to me. But
We've tried to get it back 2
This
times.
has nothing to do with you. The cable bill was in your name. You're going to get paid. Other than that, it has nothing to do with you. This 12-year-old has nothing to do with you.
I'm not following the relevance of my daughter in this.
That's because you're a moron.
Okay. Okay.
That's because you're a moron. If you're standing on one side of a council table and the mother of your child is standing on the other side of a council table, that's not good for your child.
Exactly.
You don't get that. And if you don't get that, you're a moron.
Okay.
Now you get it.
Sure.
And if you didn't pay child support, because according to your wife, let me read you what she wrote. Due to our financial stresses, John got behind in his child support payments, and the government is now keeping our tax refund that we would have received in April of '09. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
They're supposed to keep your refund if you get behind. Why did you get
Exactly.
behind, Mr. Howie?
Because she had been taken off of work because of her pregnancy.
That's not her problem.
I agree.
Just a
It's not
second.
her problem.
That's not her problem. That's not your 12-year-old daughter's problem.
You're right.
That you made a new baby. If you can't afford to have 2 children, only have 1. And if you can't afford to have 1, you don't have 14. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I understand. Actually,
It's very nice to want to have another baby. You don't have another baby unless you can afford it. And one of the things that happens when you have a baby, the mother sometimes has to take time off from work. She doesn't feel well. Sometimes she takes maternity leave. You don't have 2 incomes anymore. And all of a sudden, you have to make choices. And the choice that you made was not to send your 12-year-old daughter child support. That's unacceptable, sir. And because you got PO'd, because they advised you that your tax return was being
No,
paid,
it
you're
had
not
nothing to
getting
do
your
with it.
furniture
Absolutely had
back.
nothing to do
You're
with it.
getting, your wife is getting her cable bill paid, because that you owe her.
So she gets to keep all my stuff and get her child support? I mean, can't we have an equilibrium here?
Here I am.
Yeah,
Can
you
it be
just had an
balanced?
equilibrium. I made you an equilibrium. If you don't understand it, that's your problem. Put your
So
hand down.
She gets the world and I get
Put your
nothing.
hand down.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John and Kristen Howie claim the mother of John's child, Leela Revels, owes for a cable bill and for the value of missing belongings.
Mr. Howie, how much do you pay in child support?
$266
$266 a week?
a month.
A month. Let's figure that out.
Which we never get.
Get him out of here, please. He's useless. Okay, Mr. Howie, let me tell you what your super generous child support to your daughter generates. $8 a day. I don't feed my 2 dogs on $8 a day. You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
You get it? You don't pay child support for this child. You pay a token of what it costs to raise a 12-year-old. You can't buy a pair of sneakers and a pair of jeans and an outfit to go to school. You can't feed a child for $8 a day. So your $8 a day is a token. What it says is, I know I'm your father, and I know I can't support you adequately, but I have to do something, so here's my $8 a day. Do you get it, sir?
I understand what you're saying.
And you don't even pay that. You have some gall standing there. You really do. You have some gall standing there. And I'm telling you, there's going to have to come a time when you're going to have to find yours and tell her to stay out of your business. Do you understand, Mr. Howard?
Yes, ma'am.
Go looking for them. We understand each other? You get your $367 for a cable bill. Period. End of discussion. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She painted a pretty ugly picture, you know, the judge did, but I mean, it's her ruling, so we got to go with it.
Maybe he'll start paying some child support.
I understand I owe her a lot in child support, and I do plan on paying that back.
We tried to get the furniture back a lot of times, but it was never there for us to get it.
It's all there. We're still sitting on the couch to this day.
They lied and said we didn't even try to get it.
I didn't even know that was a problem until not too long ago.
It's all said and done, so let's just, you know, have a short memory of this incident and forget about it.
I would hope, we all could get along. I mean, I hope this doesn't, affect anything.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of buyers versus buyers, step forward.
James Byers is suing his son, Gabriel Byers, for the return of money he gave him for safekeeping.
Mr. Byers, this is your son. According to your complaint, several years ago, you left some money in an account for him that he was just sort of keep in case of emergencies. It's your claim that that was $5,000. You want your money back. Your son's defense to that is you told him that he could replenish that account whenever he had extra money, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have a few questions for you because I found some things interesting in your complaint and some things interesting in your answer. First, Mr. Byers, show me where you got the money from to put in an account in your son's name.
From working.
No, show me the
Oh.
account. Where you got the money from, transfer, whatever.
There you have the cashier's check and a copy of the canceled cashier's check.
And that was in November of 2005.
Right.
And did you have any formal agreement with your son in writing with regard to this money?
No, I didn't.
Now, I've read in your son's answer that you and his mother were divorced,
Yes, we are.
and there were 2 children.
There are 3.
3 children. And there was a period of time when you were in substantial noncompliance with a child support order. Is that correct?
That's true.
And that arrears had accrued for at least 2 of your children. A daughter, is that correct?
That is not correct.
A son.
Just a son.
I'm quoting your son's answer. He was trying to get a job at the time, and I told my mother that he had changed, and now that I was grown, to let it go. She signed off on approximately $60,000 that he owed her. My mother called me very upset over his second attempt to get his back child support cleared again, and I had had it. So is that for the same child, sir?
I
it's
really
not an
don't know.
answer.
I really don't know what he's saying there.
Well,
I have no
I'm
idea.
asking you questions, sir. In what year did you have your former wife sign off and say she no longer wanted to collect $60,000 from you in back child support? In what year was that?
I have no idea.
What year, sir?
I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly.
Well, figure it out as closely as you can. Otherwise, I'll call your mother.
It was 2004, maybe.
So it was about the same time that your father gave you a check for $5,000. Is that correct?
That check came some years later.
No. That check came in 2005.
Okay, then the child support thing happened maybe a couple years before that then.
Who was the child support for?
The child support that was signed off on was for myself and my brother.
How old is your brother?
He is 40.
And when were they coming after your father for this back child support? Or was your mother coming after him for the
I guess
back
my mother
child-
was coming after him about it.
And she signed off on it?
After I talked to her about it, yes.
Right. And then you got a check for $5,000 from your father.
Yes, I did.
Why do you think that your former wife signed off on $60,000 worth of back child support?
Your Honor, I have no knowledge of her signing off on anything.
Was she
Years-
pursuing child support from you, sir? Did she have a case, or was she proceeding with a case to try to recoup the child support that you owed her?
I simply don't know. I
Well,
have
your
no
son
idea.
knows, and she would know. She's a simple phone call.
She didn't sign off, as far as I know, on any $60,000 worth of child support.
Child support in any amount.
Not that I know of. She
Well,
told me that
explain-
she had. She told me she had signed off, let's say in '98 or something like that.
Wasn't
and then
98.
I began to get notices of child support. I go to her and I ask her, I said, "What is this?" She told me you had signed off. She said, "Well, give me the notices and I'll take care of it," and then didn't. So I don't know of anything about any sign off, period.
All right. Now you're going to tell me the story so that I can believe it about why you gave your son a certified check for $5,000.
I simply gave it to him for safekeeping. I
want you to explain to me why a certified check, sir.
Well, so I could have a paper trail.
You have a paper trail if you have a regular check. You have a canceled check. You have the same check that you do if you have an official check, sir.
Well, I felt a certified check was the thing to do.
When was the last time you gave your son a substantial amount of money?
Well, I've given him money, and he's run into rough spots before, and I've given him money before.
Only fair. You didn't support him as you were supposed to when he was growing up, so you made up for it now. Only reasonable.
I'm trying to understand what money before had
Just
he
a
given
second, well,
me.
it doesn't make any difference. Does anything that I say sound as if it's hurting you, sir? Does anything that I'm saying
No.
in this case sound as if I'm hurting you?
No, ma'am.
So what I'm saying to you, Mr. Byer, is the money that you didn't pay for his support when he was growing up, if you threw him an extra couple of dollars or an extra couple of $1,000 when he was in need as an adult, so what? It was money that you owed anyway.
I owe his mother money, not him.
You don't owe his mother money anymore.
I owe his mother money.
When was
and
the
not
last
him.
time you gave his mother money?
There is an order in place.
That's not my question. When was the last time you gave his mother money?
I can't remember.
Well, was it in this decade? Was it in this millennium?
The only thing I can tell you is that I'm paying child support, and I am current, and I have been current for 10 years.
He can't be current. He's 37.
I'm current in the arrears that was set up.
When your son has the money to give you back that you left in his care, he'll pay you back. Can you give him back any money now?
No, ma'am.
I left the money with him simply for him to, as a keepsake for me.
As a keepsake.
And actually,
as a
he would
keepsake.
run
Mr.
into...
Byer, I never heard such a ridiculous story in my life. And if you and your son have an agreement, and your son says that you have an agreement, I don't know why he said it. I'm not exactly sure, because I think if my common sense dictates to me, there was sort of a quid pro quo, that your son got his mother to sign off on this child support, and in exchange he got the $5,000. That sounds logical to me. What does not sound logical to me is an adult parent saying to a child, I'm giving you $5,000, as you just said to me, as a keepsake for me, and I'll come to you when I need it or when I want it. That suggests that you can't take care of your own money, or that the state was coming after you for money, and the reason you put it in a cashier's check was that there was no paper trail. No paper trail, not a paper trail, no paper trail. So you had accumulated some cash, you wrote out a cashier's check, and you gave it to him to put away.
Yeah, it's case number 578 on the calendar in the matter of DeBarry versus Gagliano.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. DeBarry, you and the defendant were in a relationship and you lived together
Yes, Your
until
Honor.
sometime in May of last year.
Yes, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, you believe that Ms. Gagliano is responsible for several things. First, for an assault that you allege she perpetrated on you on that day. Second, you claim that she filed a false application for a restraining order against you, which caused you to incur some fees. You want her to be responsible, in addition, for a hotel that you had to pay for when she filed these false charges and you were forced to leave the home.
Yes.
The defendant says that you actually did, in fact, assault her. She says that, in addition, she had to, since she was arrested, she had to stay in an apartment for a couple of weeks while you were living in her home. And in addition, when she finally was allowed back into the home, she found that the place was a mess and that you allegedly took some property that didn't belong to you. When did this incident occur?
May 24th, 2000.
And how long have the two of you been living together at
Just
that
over
time?
2 years.
So why don't you start by telling me what happened on the 24th of May?
Well, on May 24th, I had picked her up from the airport because she had been at her family's because her father had passed away. And, you know, we came into the apartment and I went into the bedroom when I got on the computer because I was looking for a rental car. And she right away started getting irate with me and yelling at me.
Why was she yelling at you?
We had conversations to the fact that we weren't getting along, that there was some issues.
Before she went away or when she was...
While she was away,
While she
I
was
had brought it to her attention that I felt like I was just a roommate. You know, I'm paying bills and I'm living there, but there's nothing else. So we discussed that when she got back, we would talk. As soon as she got back, she didn't say nothing on the car ride back from the airport. She got into the apartment and she flipped out.
Well, tell me how she flipped out, sir. What
She
did she
started throwing stuff, my golf clubs across the room. She wiped off everything off the desk and the dresser.
Well, what was it that precipitated that? Something usually happens before.
Nothing. She was just, I couldn't understand. This is a shock to me because she was never like this. So she continued to get irate and she's like, I want you out of here.
Were you not sympathetic to her?
I was.
Okay.
And I said, you want me out of here? Call the cops. She refused to call the cops. So she got in my face, clenched her fists, and turned red, and she was gritting her teeth, and she's like, pushing towards me like she wanted me to hit her. And I just backed away. I said, you need to get out of here. You need to go sit down and go do something because I don't need to deal with this. She's like, I want you out. I said, here, call 911. I typed 911 in my cell phone, and I went to hand it to her. She wouldn't take it. She finally walked out of the room. I sat down at the desk. I was on the computer chair. And a couple minutes later, she came back in and she lunged at me on the chair and started digging into my face. So I had 911 programmed in the phone, so all I did was hit send. And I got the dispatcher. And I told him, she's attacking me. You need to send somebody here now. And she got up and she was hysterical and she went out in the other room. The dispatcher told me, lock the door, stay away from her, and stay on the phone with him, which I did. Police officers arrived, and that's when they started investigating.
Do you have the police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
Here you go. There's also pictures on there, too.
All right. Why don't you tell me your version of the events, please?
My version is that I was with my mom because my dad had passed away, and I was there for a month from April 9th to May 24th. During this time, I received a phone bill, and I noticed he was calling this, making outgoing and receiving ingoing calls from this same number. And I questioned him about it, and he says he had fallen in love with this other person, and I didn't want him to be with me if he was in love with someone else or having relations with other people.
When did he tell you that?
I don't know the exact date.
Well, is it when you were away? Or
it was when I was at my mom's house.
Okay.
It was at my mom's house, and we had conversations for him to leave because we were both unhappy in the relationship. Because it was pretty much...
So far, does that ring a bell?
I never said that I was in love with this, but that is true that there were some calls, but it was never discussed like that.
Well, how was it discussed?
Like I had told you previously, I was unhappy and I felt like we were roommates, and she agreed that it was like we're roommates.
Oh, so you became involved with somebody else?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Well, at
it was
least
a
on the
friend of
telephone.
mine that she accused me of cheating on her with.
You know, there's all kinds of cheating,
Right.
sir. There's emotional cheating, there's physical cheating. You were having conversations with another woman, correct?
Yes, a friend.
Okay, go ahead. So you got back from...
I got back from Myrtle Beach, and I was unpacking my suitcase, and I had asked him to leave the apartment twice because I was really upset, and he was cursing at me, calling me bad things. And
No, that didn't start. That doesn't make sense. He picked you up from the airport.
we were talking, and he said we didn't talk on the way home. We were talking on the way
He
home.
picked you up from the airport. He didn't say take a cab home, take a car service home. He picked you up from the
With
airport.
my car.
I don't care whether he picked you up with your car or not. He picked you up at the airport, correct?
Right.
And there was no scene at the airport.
In the car there was.
I said there was no scene in the airport. And when you got home, he just started to curse you? Is that what you're telling me? That doesn't make sense. Makes sense that you were angry with him because of what you saw on the phone bill, but it doesn't make sense that he would start cursing at you.
Well, because I told him I didn't love him. We had discussed that we wanted to separate, and I had asked him to leave, and he said no, and he became very violent.
Well, tell me what he did.
I went over to the desk to get...
Make sure it's consistent with this police report.
I went over to the desk because I saw my car keys on there, and I didn't want him leaving with my car. I should have just let him leave with my car and reported
Don't
the car.
tell me what you should have done, just
I
tell
know.
me what you did.
So I went over to the desk to just grab my car keys, and he grabbed me by the neck and was holding me by the neck. And then once he had me by the neck, I tried to get him to release me, so I scratched him on the face.
Police officers said, I observed Michelle's neck and did not see any marks or any form of injury. At the headquarters, Michelle stated that Joseph slammed the door in her face and injured her back when he jumped on her. Michelle made no claim of these actions when Sergeant and I were at her residence, and there were no injuries or marks consistent with her statement. He advised that while she was in the holding cell, Michelle did not confide any information that she was in fear of Joseph. Michelle was charged with simple...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joseph DeBari says his ex-girlfriend Michelle Gagliano owes for an assault, hotel fees, and for filing false charges. Michelle is countersuing for an assault, hotel fees, and damaged property.
Okay. You filed for a protective order on that date.
I was advised by...
And granted a
Yes.
protective order. Okay. Then you went back to the apartment.
Yes.
How long did you stay in the apartment?
It was 3 days.
When did you find out that the lease was in her name?
When I was removed from the apartment, and I went to the office to ask them for a copy of the lease. Because
Well, tell me-
all along, I was under the assumption, because we filled out papers together when we got the apartment, I was supposed to be on the lease.
Did you ever sign a lease?
I signed a document stating that I was going to be a registered occupant.
Were you a registered occupant on the lease?
As far as I was concerned, yes.
Can I see the lease, please?
He wasn't, and the reason for that was because of his criminal background. And that's why I had to move from my original apartment where I lived, because they wouldn't let him live there because of his criminal background for fraud and embezzlement or whatever.
That's your choice. If it's true, and I don't know if it's true or not, that was your choice, right?
To live with him?
Yeah.
I know, but my
That was your choice.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you didn't find out anything new about his criminal background after you moved from one apartment to another. You chose to live with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were there 3 days. And then what happened, sir?
I got a knock on the door, 2 police officers telling me I had to leave. They came in and they said, if you don't leave, we're going to arrest you. And this was at 5 o'clock. So I was like, this is wrong. I'm supposed to be here. You know, the court said I should be here. Well, you have to deal with them. It's after hours. You have to leave. So I left. I had a friend of mine pick me up and take me to a hotel. So I had contacted the courts and also the district attorney. And he stated to me, why are you out of the apartment? You have every right to be there.
Don't tell me what he stated to you, sir. That's hearsay.
To go back. So I went back after 4 days.
Okay, and?
And then our court proceedings continued. It was a 2-week adjournment. And after that, I decided to get my stuff.
And leave.
And leave. And just
Well,
bring
that's
the
a
keys
very
to
good
court.
idea.
I didn't want no trouble.
That's a very good idea. I believe his version of the events, and I do not believe yours.
Sorry.
I believe that you assaulted him, that there was a terrible altercation, and that you filed a restraining order subsequently. Unless you have medical records. You have medical records?
I went to the emergency room.
Just a second. I want to see the medical records. I want to see what the physical manifestation was of this alleged assault.
And there's pictures, too.
I'm not looking at any pictures. The police officer memorialized exactly what they saw when they came to the premises. So you went to the emergency room the next day?
Yes.
Not that day. You went the next day. And then you went 3 days later.
Because I tried
Don't tell me what they said. I'm just asking you for objective data. You went the next day to the emergency room. And then you went 3 days after that. I'm just reading the records.
It was a holiday weekend.
Don't tell me what it was.
And I tried to do it that day, but they told me I couldn't.
Don't tell me what they told you, madam. That's hearsay. You can always go to the emergency room.
I mean, for me to, I tried to file a...
You can always go to the emergency room.
No, I know that. I'm not...
I just made a simple
Okay.
statement. The simple statement was you went to the emergency room the next day.
Yes,
Who took the photographs that you want to show me?
I did. I took them in the hotel room because I had to stay at a hotel for 11 days. And I took them before I went to the emergency room.
On what date?
On the 25th of May.
I want to look at them. It's nonsense. Okay. You were asked to leave because of what?
That she filed a complaint against me.
When did you file a complaint against him?
It was when the courts reopened on Tuesday or Wednesday.
I'd like to see the complaint. You give so many different versions of this event to the police, to the doctors in the hospital, in your application for a protective order, and to me. In one narrative of the event, you say he slammed a door in your face and pushed you down. You told me he grabbed you by the throat, and that's what caused you to scratch him. Here you say that you went to grab a set of keys off the desk, he grabbed you by the neck and threw you down and was holding you down by the neck.
He was.
Well, that's not what you told the doctors in the hospital.
I told them the same thing.
Do you want me to read what you told them?
I read it, and she wrote it.
She wrote it down differently.
She did.
Yeah. I believe that she filed this in retaliation, so to you filing the protective order. What expenses did you have with regard to defending the protective order?
I had $300 in a hotel for 4 days.
Let me see the bill.
This is my bank statement. There's 2 days on there, and 2 days I paid cash. I understand.
How much were the 2 days that are down there?
$74 a day.
I'm dismissing the part of your claim that seeks compensation for an assault. I do not believe you were assaulted. I believe he was. I believe you lost your temper, and that's what happened. I believe that you filed a restraining order against him in retaliation for his filing one so that you could get back into your apartment. That's what you did, and it didn't work. So I'm not awarding you anything on your counterclaim for the 2 weeks that you had to stay in a hotel room. You had to stay in a hotel room because you assaulted him, and he had a protective order. Now we're going to talk about your property. What do you claim that he took that belonged to you when he left?
He took a $200 blender. He took a digital photo frame. He took a business card case that I had. It all added up to...
Don't tell me what it added up to. I want to hear what he took.
He took
Keep going.
a wheeled laptop bag, a big Yankee clock that was on the wall, and that's it.
Did you take any of those items that belonged to
No, Your
him?
Honor. I took what was mine, just my clothes.
Did you ever file a police report with regard to items that he took?
No.
Why not?
Because when we went to court, he told my lawyer to tell me
No,
that...
don't tell me what he told your lawyer. After you got home, you're not a stranger now to the system. So now you can go back and file a police report that he stole items that belong to you.
Okay.
Did you ever do that?
No, I didn't think I had to
Good.
do that.
Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Okay.
I'm awarding you, sir, $648, which is $148 for your hotel room and $500 for your scratches. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He gets away with lies.
I didn't realize she was full of lies. I just knew that we didn't have a relationship.
He's just a shady person.
It was just getting worse, and I just wasn't happy.
He's just shady, manipulative, and he lies.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Flint versus White. Step forward.
26-year-old Melissa Flint is suing her ex-boyfriend, 26-year-old Brian White, for the unpaid balance on a furniture set and a television.
Miss Flint, you and Mr. White had a brief relationship, and according to your complaint, he owes you money for furniture and a television set that you put on your credit card.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. White says he doesn't owe you anything, although he is sitting on the furniture and watching the television.
Yes, ma'am.
How long did the two of you date?
We dated approximately 2 months.
From when to when?
We started dating the middle of December to about the middle of February.
And when did he move into this apartment that needed furniture?
He was moving the weekend of the 19th of January of 2008.
So far correct, Mr. White?
I thought we dated a lot longer than that.
It just seemed longer, Mr. White.
Possibly, but no, I do recall at least being with her through March and maybe some of April.
Fine. Where were you living, Miss Flint?
I was living in an apartment of my own in Kansas City.
How long had you been living there?
I moved in July of 2007.
And Mr. White, where had you been living previous to this apartment?
I lived with my father.
What kind of work were you doing?
I was a sales rep for a company called Service Manager.
Miss Flint had her own apartment, you had your apartment. Why would she buy you furniture?
It's a good question.
No. I always ask good questions, Mr. White.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I'm here. I
That's right.
expect from you a truthful answer.
I will give you a truthful answer.
Then get to it.
Okay. She was with me at the time that I was moving out of my father's house. My roommate and I didn't have a bedroom or a TV, a nice
So
TV
you're moving
for
in with a
downstairs.
roommate?
I moved in with a roommate, yes. I did.
Go ahead.
Anyways, as we got down to it, we were beginning to move in. I still did not have a TV or a bedroom set. She was willing to.
No, not she was willing to. I want you to tell me how it came about.
Well, I asked her if
What did
she
you
would-
ask her?
If she would help me purchase a bedroom and a TV.
And what did she say?
She said yes.
And what did you say?
I said I would help make payments.
Then why are we here?
Because at the time we were together.
No, don't look down. Then why are we here?
Because at the time when we were together, she said she would help make payments with me. At the time that we broke up, I found out that she was with her ex-boyfriend.
Who cares?
I stopped making payments.
On what theory?
I looked at it as a gift.
He has really no defense to this. The fact that he didn't like the reason for your breakup is not a reason
ma'am.
not to pay the bill.
We were together when she helped me purchase these. We went into it together.
No, you didn't go into it together, sir.
Yes,
If
we
you
did.
lived together in an apartment with her, I would hear you. She
No, ma'am.
had her own apartment. You moved
We
in
had
with a
our own
roommate.
place.
Listen to me. You moved in with a roommate. According to your testimony, not more than 3 minutes ago, you said you had an understanding. She said, can you help me buy you the furniture? She said yes. And what was your understanding? She bought the furniture and I would make the payments. That's what you just said.
I said I would help with the payments, ma'am.
When was the last time you helped with the payments?
The last time I helped is after we broke up. The month that we broke up, I made
Listen,
my
you
last
look
payment.
foolish enough. Don't say anything else. All right? You look like enough of a fool. Say nothing else. You don't want your father to see this. $2,158. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She got back with the next boyfriend.
We weren't even dating. We didn't talk.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom. Yes, case number 8 on the calendar in the matter of Montejano versus Martinez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. Montejano, it is your claim that at a party where I conjure up in my imagination there was a lot of drinking going on, that Ms. Martinez assaulted you. You want her to be responsible for your medical bills and for your pain and suffering as a result of that assault. Ms. Martinez indicates in her answer that this was a case of self-defense.
Yes.
First, tell me, on what date was this party you attended?
It was January 11th.
2009?
Right.
And at whose home was the party?
It was at Edson's house.
Who's? Keep your voice
Edson's
up.
house.
Who was that?
Him. I mean, Nicole's
The house
boyfriend.
is actually mine.
You say it was at his house.
Well, I didn't know she lived there. It was.
You live there as well?
It's my house, yes.
Who owns the house?
I do.
And what was he doing there?
He's my boyfriend.
So you own the house.
He lives
with you.
Mm-hmm.
Who invited you to the party?
A friend of ours.
Who?
I can't say her name, but we were invited personally to that party.
What do you mean you can't say her name?
Her name was Alexia.
You know that person?
Absolutely not.
Do you?
I don't, Your Honor.
Was she at the party?
Yeah, she was there with some other friends. We knew Edson from before. We had been to his house a few times and party. We didn't know he had a girlfriend now.
So you had been to his house before when she wasn't home?
I think he was single back then because we didn't know she
Is it
lived
the
there.
same house?
She didn't live there before.
Listen to me carefully. Is it the same house you went to
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
How many times had you been to the house?
Probably twice.
Twice, did you say?
Yeah.
Before January of 2009, when were you at the house before?
Yeah.
That doesn't require a yes or a no. That requires a date. Before January 2009, when was the last time you were at the house?
I don't remember. It was probably
a month,
like
2 months, 3
more than
months,
a year
6
ago.
months. What?
Probably more than a year ago.
How long have you been living there?
For a few months.
This is going to get better. Okay, so January 11th, you were invited by some girl. Now, who did you see? Did you see her when you got there?
Yeah.
What time did you get there?
We got there like around 11.
Who did you go to the party with?
Me, April, and my sister.
Let's go. You got there at 11 o'clock. What happened when you got there?
When we got there, we were dancing, and there was some girls already fighting. They were already fighting. I don't know why, because there was some girls dancing on their table, and I don't know why they were fighting, but they were fighting right in front of me. And we were about to leave, but then they calmed down, so we decided to stay a little longer. So we were just having a good time, partying. Even Edson came up to us and gave us a hug, and he was like, "Hey guys, how are you guys?" And we're like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And
he does that to everybody.
Listen to
We don't have a table.
Quiet. How much drinking were you doing, and what were you drinking?
I only had a mixed drink.
What kind of alcohol were you drinking?
It was vodka with like Sprite.
Did you meet any guys there that night? Is not an answer. Did you meet any guys there that night?
Yeah.
Did you end up in the bathroom with one of them?
No.
For sure.
Did you end up in the bathroom with somebody?
No, he wanted to walk me to the bathroom, and I kept telling him to leave.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you if you ended up in the bathroom with somebody.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the answer. With whom?
I didn't know him.
Who walked into the bathroom first, you or the guy?
I did, and then he followed me.
And after he followed you into the bathroom, who closed the door?
He did.
And what did you do in the bathroom?
I was telling him to get out because I needed to use our bathroom, and I wasn't feeling good, and he wouldn't get out.
Don't look down. Look at me.
And he wouldn't get out, and then that's when they started knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And that's when I told him to get out. I was like, get out, get out. And he got out, and I stayed in the restroom because I needed to use the restroom.
That's not true.
Okay. Now let's just take it up to there, Miss Martinez, because I read your answer very carefully. Let's start with knocking at the bathroom door. You were trying to get people out of the house.
Yes, I had gotten overcrowded. Me and him started kicking people out. He was pounding on the door. I came to see what was going on. My lock is one of those you could just stick like a card in and just unlock it. So that's what I did because the door was locked. I unlocked it. She's wrapped in my towels and he has his pants down. So I go, I shut the door. I go, I'm giving you 5 minutes to get changed and get out of my restroom. I waited. I started kicking more people out. I came back. He had already fled by the time I came back. He ran out as fast as he could. I came in. She's kneeling in my restroom, and she's telling me to hold on. I go, no. I gave you 5 minutes to put your clothes on, and I asked you to get out, and I asked you nicely, and I didn't do anything. She didn't want to listen. She kept telling me to hold on, so I grabbed her, and I pulled her out of my restroom, and I told her to leave. We then started throwing punches at each other because she got because of the way I pulled her out, and that's when everything had started. Next thing I know, I have 2 other girls come and jump me as well. I have 3 of them on top of me by myself.
You mean these 2 girls?
Those 2.
Okay.
Which I don't know what the 16-year-old was doing at my house or why she would bring a 16-year-old to my house, but she was
Who's 16?
She's 17.
What were you doing there? What were you doing there?
We went to, I wanted to go with her, and yeah, we ended up there at the party.
That you didn't go to until 11 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
Who do you live with?
My mom and my dad.
They let you go to a party at 11 o'clock at night?
My parents weren't home that weekend.
Hey.
Sorry.
Our parents weren't home that weekend, so we left.
She just said she was at home with her parents.
How many times do I have to tell you, don't speak to me.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Don't speak to me sitting down, and don't stand up until I ask you.
Okay.
Understand?
Yeah.
Perfect. So your parents weren't home that night, or the whole weekend?
Yeah.
But you knew it was the wrong thing to do.
Yes.
Now you can sit down. Okay, go ahead, Miss Martinez.
All 3 of them had a full grip of my hair, and I was trying to swing. I couldn't because they had me like literally bent over. And the first thing I grabbed was a bottle, and I swung. I didn't know who I was swinging at. I just swung. I got her. She still kept fighting, and both of them kept fighting. The guys had finally pulled us all apart. April then comes running back in. He steps in the middle of us because she's getting ready to hit me. And she's hitting him, trying to get through him to me. And then that's when more guys come, get her off of him, take her outside, and ask them to leave.
How many people were drunk that night?
I'd probably say 95% of the people that were there.
And that would be including you and including her?
I wasn't, because I was actually watching everything that was going on. Because I'm the owner of the house, I was just kind of patrolling. However, at the end of the night, when all the fight had happened, her sister actually came up to me and said, I really apologize for my sister, but she's really wasted.
That is not true.
Shh. Are you speaking sitting down? Don't get up, I didn't ask you. Not a shouting match here. This is a courtroom.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sandra Montejano says party hostess Nicole Martinez beat her up during a wild night of drinking. Nicole claims she was acting in self-defense.
Okay, tell me your version. Now you're in the bathroom. Now you're in the bathroom. And if you think that I believe that he followed you into the bathroom and nothing was going on there.
I don't even remember that guy taking his
because
pants
you were
off.
wasted, because you drank too much.
Maybe he tried to do something with me while I was using the restroom.
Because you were
but I don't
drunk.
remember
Because you
that.
drank too much. And you brought, she's your
I don't
younger
remember
sister?
doing
Hey,
anything with
I'm
him.
speaking. Now you're trying to talk over me. First I can't hear you, and now you're trying to talk over me. That's your kid sister?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing you did wrong was to take your sister out to a place you knew you shouldn't have taken her, right?
Right.
Did you let her drink when you were there?
No.
Did you drink anything?
No.
Yeah, baloney.
She didn't drink.
Baloney.
And I wouldn't be making out with the guy in the restroom knowing that my little sister is outside.
Yeah, yes, you would have.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you absolutely would have. For the
I
same
wouldn't have
reason
wanted
that you took her
anybody
out
to
at
know
11
either.
o'clock at night. Now, give me your version. And I have other things to do today.
I don't remember. Half of what she's saying, it's a lie. Because
I didn't ask you half of what she's saying is a
Okay.
lie. I asked you your
This is
version.
what
Hey,
happened.
you're trying to talk over me again? I asked you to tell me your version of what happened after she told you to get out of the bathroom.
Okay, what happened is...
That you first told me you weren't in with a guy.
No, I did. I told you I was, but I didn't... I never did anything with that
First
guy.
you told me you weren't. Now let's move on. You're in the bathroom. She tells you to get out of the bathroom. He leaves. Go ahead.
Okay, as soon as he walks out of the bathroom, I start, using the bathroom. And that's when she tried to get me out of the bathroom. And I was like, hold on, I need to use the bathroom. And I didn't know who was knocking the door. When I came out of the bathroom, she just pulled me and started stalking me until I was shocked, like punching me all over the place. And I was shocked. I didn't even have a chance to defend myself. And so I remember seeing myself in the floor crying, and then they were telling me to leave, that we were going home already. So when we were walking out, I was like, did she just hit me like that or randomly? Like, I'm shocked. I can't believe she just attacked me like that. So I'm like, who is she? I wanna know who she is. I wasn't looking for a fight. I was just going to confront her. Like, why did she do that? I didn't do anything wrong.
I have the police.
So when we were leaving, she was outside surrounded by all these guys. And it seemed like all they wanted was just fight. Because I went up, I was walking
Don't tell
towards
me what
her.
it seems. Just tell me what happened.
Well, because when I was walking towards her, she just cracked the beer bottle in my head without even knowing why was I walking towards her for. I wasn't even sure if she was the one that had attacked me in the first place.
You mean you're in a tight area in somebody's house, right outside the bathroom, and you're not sure who it was who attacked you?
Right.
Right,
I
because you were
was
drunk.
still, in my mind, I was still looking for the girl that attacked me. And I don't know where she just...
Drunk. As a skunk. Drunk. Go to the hospital?
Yeah.
I want to see the report. And I want to see the police report. Thank you, sir. I don't want the hospital bills. I want the hospital report.
Well, I requested them and they never called me back. They said they were going to give me a call back to go pick them up.
Okay. You told the police officer that when plaintiff came to you, you swung a beer bottle that was in your right hand. Is that right? That's what you
No.
told the police. That's what you told the police.
That's what they put down, yes.
No, that's what you told them.
Okay.
And at the police station, you acknowledged that you were wrong and that you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a start. You had no right to hit her with a beer bottle. You understand that?
I know.
Once somebody tells you to leave their house, you have to leave.
We were leaving.
No. Immediately. You overstayed your welcome. You were in the bathroom doing something you shouldn't have been doing. She wanted you to leave. It's her house. You should have left immediately. That doesn't mean that she has the right to lose it, which she clearly did. And so she has to be responsible. You have no health insurance?
No,
Have any of these bills been paid?
not yet.
How many stitches did you have?
2.
What was the total amount of your bills?
$6,700.
Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That should cover some of your medical bills. Now, can we have the next case, please?
This is case number 9 on the calendar in the matter of McKay versus Rodriguez.
22-year-old April McKay is suing Nicole Martinez's boyfriend, Edson Rodriguez, for assaulting her at the party in question.
Have the parties been sworn?
Yes, they have.
Okay. All right. Ms. McKay, you were at the party. You were the third member of this triumvirate who went there.
Correct.
And it is your claim that Mr. Rodriguez assaulted you.
Correct.
According to the police, very uncooperative, Mr. Rodriguez.
Correct.
Why were you being uncooperative with the police?
He asked me to remain seated, and I stand up to get some water. That's why that was considered incorporation.
What, you were dying for a drink?
Well, he asked me to remain seated, and I was upset because of the whole situation, and they just got into a house, and I went to get water. That was it.
You think that I believe that?
I think, yeah.
No. How much did you have to drink that night,
I didn't
Mr.
drink
Rodriguez? At all?
At all.
So you tell me, Ms. McKay, how he assaulted you.
Basically, it's from the start, just the way their case was earlier. We were there at the party for a while, enjoying our time. We got invited by some friends. Anyway, so I seen Sandra coming out, and this girl, don't remember. But anyway, she came out of the restaurant. They started fighting. So I went over there to separate them. And I was trying to separate them as, you know, so she came and tried to help me to separate Sandra and Nicole from fighting. That's when Edson came up to me and grabbed me and said, no, let them fight. Don't, you know, just let them fight. So no, I was telling him I'm not going to let them fight. I'm going to go out and separate them. I want to leave. I'm not here to, you know, have any fights against anybody. So I pulled him apart again. That's when he grabbed me by the hair and started punching me. He dragged me down to the floor and started socking me in my chest. Then, therefore, we both went to the hospital for that. While I was getting dragged down by his fist and he was hitting me on the chest, I heard Sandra screaming and I heard a beer bottle break. I heard screaming. That's when the cops arrived, and that's it. I don't know what happened after that.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, Your Honor, she's 100 pounds, 5 feet tall. If I will beat her up, she will be in the hospital for a couple of weeks.
Oh, you're a big macho guy.
And I know you understand that. Now, according to the police report, it says that 2 male guys were punching her in the stomach, and she just said that, and she didn't admit that. And I have that in writing, according to a police report.
Is there another male there?
No, not that I know of.
Can I see a copy of your hospital record?
Sure.
I have the police report.
There's that.
You were driving that night, Ms. McKay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you have anything to drink that night?
No, Your Honor.
Go ahead, sir. I'm listening to you.
She declared, I mean, according to...
Don't tell me what she declared here. I'm asking you to talk to me. Did you hit her?
No, I don't.
Didn't put your hand on her?
Yeah, I did.
How?
I grabbed her hand so she wouldn't punch my girlfriend, and was trying to control the situation. Then she fell down, and I didn't attack her at any time.
How did she get a chest contusion?
Well, that's a lie.
No, that's according to what the doctor says.
Yeah, she also said
and that's according to what
Well,
the
she
doctor...
got involved in the fight when my girlfriend was fighting Sandra. I couldn't be back then.
So you mean when all 3 girls were involved in the fight, she could have gotten punched then?
Correct.
So you just pulled her away?
Just pulled her away, trying to control.
Did she fall?
Yes.
Tell me how she fell.
Right when I noticed she wasn't there anymore, I just turned around. I didn't look at her falling, right? It was like 10, 15 people outside trying to control the whole situation. Now, over there says that there were 2 guys attacking her, which now she declared that's not true.
Yeah, are you trying to tell me what I have to look at in order to evaluate this case?
No, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
I asked, just tell me what happened. You pulled her off her.
Pulled her off her, trying to control
And she
the
fell.
situation.
I'm not satisfied that Mr. Rodriguez punched you and assaulted you. I think he probably grabbed you and got you off her and you probably fell. But I think there was a whole lot of fighting going on there. And the only one who did something that was actionable was her. Because she knows that when she picked up that beer bottle, took that beer bottle that was in her hand and hit her over the head with it, she knew it was wrong. And she knew it was wrong because she had allowed this group to come into her home and then got angry when this young lady wouldn't leave as quickly as she wanted her to leave. She sort of acknowledges that even in her answer, lost her temper and lost her cool. And she can do that as long as she doesn't do it with a beer bottle. He had nothing to do with it. Your case against Mr. Rodriguez is dismissed. That's all. Thank you.
All right, excuse me, step out. Brooks. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Malafont, you are Miss Malafont. Who are you?
Miss Malafont.
She's my mom.
Mother. Why don't you have a seat? How old are you?
17.
The defendant is your father.
Yes.
And according to your complaint, you needed a car. And your father agreed to help you out with getting a car.
Mm-hmm.
He put down the down payment on the car with the understanding that you would make the monthly payments and keep up with the insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I assume from your complaint that you followed through with your end.
Yes, I did.
And there came a point when he took back the car.
Yes.
When did he take back the car?
He repossessed the car on June 23rd, 2001.
And you say he had no basis to repossess the car, and you want all the monthly payments that you paid to a bank, I assume.
It was, yes, Home Financial Services.
For the time that you had the car?
Yes.
And that was $1,440.
So
you had the car. Did you have the car in October?
Yes.
October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June.
Yes.
You had the car really 9 months.
Yes.
Your father says you did not follow through with your responsibility. As a matter of fact, you owe him a substantial amount for the car. So, tell me what your arrangement was with your father.
On October 12th, we went in there. We both decided that I would agree to be responsible for the vehicle. He paid the $500 down payment. We also purchased insurance, and he paid $500 to the person who rebuilt the engine. While the car was in the shop, he did pay one car payment, and we both agree on that. He paid the $500 down payment and one car payment for a
Why
week.
did he make the car payment?
Because at the time, I was unaware that he even made the car payment.
Well, you didn't make the car payment.
No. I was trying to work, and he had let me use his vehicle while mine was in the shop. I have a daughter, and I didn't exactly have all the money to pay for it. Because
So you didn't have the money, so he made the car payment in February?
Yes.
And what was the monthly payment?
It was $180 a month, but he only paid $170 that month.
Okay. Go ahead. On
May 1st, 2001, me and his wife had got into an argument. Words were exchanged. I said a couple of things, she said a couple of things, and then we started fighting. She headbutted me in the nose and broke my nose, and she hit me in the back of the neck with a picture frame. I moved out because they were on drugs very badly, and I couldn't take it anymore, and I didn't want my daughter to be around it, and I myself did not want to be around it. Me and him were still on good terms. We talked daily, and then probably 2 weeks after that, on May 16th, I got a message from him on my cell phone. I didn't answer the phone, but I listened to the message, and I didn't agree with the message at all. I have that recorded if you want to hear it.
I just want to know what the message said.
He said, if I leave her, what am I going to do about a woman? Are you going to help me out? Are you going to give me some?
That's not true.
I have the message if you want to hear it.
I don't have to listen to it. Go ahead.
I called the Department of Human Resources and spoke to someone named...
Where were you living at this time?
I was living with my mom. I guess he was mad because I called DHR on him about that, and he took the car from me.
Okay. Had you paid May's payment for the car?
Yes.
Okay, you have proof that you made
I have proof of all the payments, yes.
Okay, what about the insurance? Was that all part of the 180?
Uh-huh. And I also have a check, a copy of the check that Virgil wrote to the man who rebuilt the engine, stating that he did pay for that. I don't have all the receipts. I mean, I didn't expect for this to happen.
All the receipts for what?
For the car payments that I made. I have probably 4 of them, but I didn't keep them all. I didn't expect to be here in this situation right now.
So you only have proof of making 4 payments?
Virgil gave me that paper. He highlighted all the payments that I made, and he signed at the bottom of it.
Well, I see here there was 1 month when you made a payment of $90, and then you made a payment of $80.
Yeah, that was, I would pay early sometimes because I would have the money at that time, and I decided to pay early sometimes.
No, you weren't paying early.
What day was that?
May 11th.
May 11th, I made a late payment, and they allowed me to they gave me 5 days of grace, I believe.
No. Instead of making a full car payment in May, You made a partial payment May 11th of $90.
Yes.
Then you made another payment on May 18th of $80.
Yes.
Okay. You say the payments are $180 a month, so 9 and 8 is 17, so that's $170. You were $10 short.
Okay.
Okay. Then you don't make any payment in June, the beginning of June at all. You make a payment June 22nd in the amount of $80.
Yes.
That's not responsible. Ms. Malafont, I'm going to tell you why you have no basis for a lawsuit against your father. You have no basis for a lawsuit because you had this car for 9 months.
Yes.
And you say you made $1,440 worth of payments. That means that you paid $160 on average a month.
Okay.
You had the full use of a car for $160 a month for a period of 9 months.
Yes, ma'am.
Understand?
Yes.
You can't rent a car for $160 a month.
I understand that
Good.
the car was in, that I should be responsible for the months that I have paid for the car, but I don't think that he had a good reason for repossessing it from me.
Well, I'm going to let him tell me, but you did not keep up your end of the bargain. If he co-signed for this for you, and you are a minor, which means they can't go after you at all.
Yes.
You can't make a contract with a minor. That has to do with your lawsuit, too, sir. You did not fulfill even your moral end of the obligation because you did not make these payments on time, as you're supposed to a finance company. They don't want to, at the end of the month, when your payment is due in the beginning of the month, get a partial payment. And you didn't do that once, you did it more than once.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
17-year-old Tina Malenfant says her father, Walter Brooks, illegally repossessed her car.
Did you receive a call from the company in June?
I received a call that they did not have any indication of her having any liability insurance. Now, she only had collision. That's what was financed, but the state law, as of July 2006, you had to have liability insurance. She never carried it. I always carried it. And she had an accident.
Had you discussed that with her?
I had discussed it with her before she moved out, that she needed to cover her insurance, that I wasn't going to cover it anymore. And she ignored it.
No, Your Honor, he didn't. He had canceled my insurance a long time before I moved out, and he never even notified me. And when the car, he had canceled it when the car was in the shop, actually. And when he told me about the car payment that he made when the car was in the shop, he said, and I'm not paying for your insurance anymore either. And I said, well, that's fine. I'll get my own insurance. And he said.
Did you ever do that?
I was going to. But
No, not going to. Did you ever do that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So he did have a discussion with you and told you back in February, it's your car, it's your responsibility, get the insurance.
Yes.
And you didn't do it. And you didn't make the February payment, and you only made a partial payment in June. So he had every right to take the car back and say, listen, I can't risk my own financial situation, put my own financial situation at risk because she's not doing the right thing.
Yes.
So you had every right to take back your car. So you have no case. Now, you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for the down payment that you put on the car, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm going to get through it. For the down payment that you put on the car, for the cost of repairing the engine, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For the payments that you made for her to bring the credit up to what it should be.
Correct.
You can't make a contract with a minor. Didn't anybody ever tell you that, even a minor who's your daughter?
Okay.
Who told you that?
Nobody.
But you know that.
Right.
And you didn't make this agreement with her mother
No.
on her behalf.
No.
Where's the car now?
I have it in my possession. It's at my house.
Are you using it?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't have insurance on it. I'm just using my truck.
Why don't you sell it?
I plan to. I just was waiting till this is over beforehand.
Fine. I suggest you sell it.
Okay.
Good. Counterclaim is dismissed. You used the car for 9 months?
Yes.
You had full service of the car for 9 months, with the exception of the time that you blew an engine on the car and it was in...
The engine was already, it wasn't...
October, November, December, January. You drove the car for 4 months before you had to bring it into the shop. Is that right?
The radiator was cracked in it when we got it back too.
You drove the car for 4
Yes,
months
yes.
before you had a problem. Now, on another note, do you speak to each other?
Me and her?
No, not her. Him.
No.
You don't speak to your father?
No. I have they were to issue a protective order against him if he contacted me anymore.
Well, that's too bad. How long had you lived with your father?
Almost a year.
And prior to that, you lived with your mother?
Yes.
Why did you move out of your mother's house?
There wasn't enough room. I have a daughter, like I said, and there
How
wasn't
old is your
enough,
daughter?
She's 1. There wasn't enough room for both of us to stay there, and it was very crowded.
Okay. I can't get into the basis of the protective order. It's really beyond this, so I can't make a judgment with regard to whether or not it's a good idea for you to speak to your father, not a good idea for you to speak to your father. Only the two of you know that. In any event, you had a good time with this car, you used it, I assume you used it for work, whatever. Next time you get financing for a car, it's not going to be through your dad. Are you 18?
No,
when are you
not
going to be
yet.
18?
I'll be 18 in March.
Okay. How are you getting around now?
My mom takes me.
That's
where I
good.
need to go.
Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I didn't get the money that I really do deserve.
I guess it's a lesson that we both learned.
They're both very sick people, and something needs to be done about them.
Don't go buy the used cars for your kids.
I just don't plan on talking to them anymore.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Vincent Miller versus Crowell. Step forward, please.
20-year-old student Amber Vincent and her boyfriend Josh Miller are suing 24-year-old computer technician Roger Crowell for breaking her windshield with a softball.
Who was driving the car that day?
I was, Your Honor.
And whose car is it?
Mine, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, you're driving your car. It's a 1995 BMW, minding your own business, and all of a sudden you see a ball come towards the car, smashes your windshield. And it is your claim that the defendant, who was playing softball on that day, was at bat and responsible because he hit the ball that was responsible for your broken windshield.
Correct.
He says it wasn't him, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, once your windshield was smashed, tell me exactly what you did.
Well, first, I would like to point out, as I was on the decline of the hill that was parallel to Centennial Middle School, I actually noticed the ball players playing ball. And as I was driving, you know, I see, if my windshield wasn't there, I could have literally caught the ball with my hands. Shatters the windshield, bounces off. I don't know where it went. I pulled right in. And from that moment, the first person I saw was a woman in a van with a bunch of kids. She, in turn, was the coach's wife who was there and pointed out Mr. Kroll as the person who had hit in the ball. She said that she saw him hit the ball. She
Can't
heard
tell
it
me
hit
what she
something.
said. That's all hearsay.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's not true either, Your Honor.
Well,
we're not talking about an intentional act here, sir.
Okay.
Do you understand? We're not talking about an intentional act. You weren't aiming, or whoever hit the ball wasn't aiming for a car. You were aiming for a home run, or whoever hit the ball was aiming for a home run. So you get on the field where they were playing ball.
Well,
and you have, just a second, and you have a discussion with somebody in a car. And how long did this discussion take?
I was still discussing stuff with her in and out of conversation until after the police had arrived and departed the scene.
Now, when you arrived, did you see who was at the plate?
Yes.
Hitting who?
It was Mr. Kroll.
And you pulled into the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Did it take you a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? How long did it take you to pull in?
30 seconds. I mean, it hit and the driveway was right there. I pulled in, parked the car. It was actually, I don't even remember if I left it. I think I left it even running when I got out of the car because I was just frantic.
You're telling me that when you pulled in, you saw the defendant at the plate?
Yes, he was holding the bat, standing at the plate.
That's
okay.
not true.
Shh. Don't say anything else until I ask you a question. Understood? Good. From where the person who was at bat is holding the bat and where your car was originally hit, is that in front of it? I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is, would have been a foul ball or would that have been a home run?
It was, I asked who had the home run swing.
Just a second. So that would have been a home run.
Correct.
Now, I am not really a sports aficionado. However, am I correct, Bird, that if one hits a home run, what one does immediately is drop the bat and start running around the bases? You do that immediately.
Yeah.
As soon as the ball takes off.
Yeah.
Right?
In
You see it go, and you start running.
That's right.
You get where I'm going?
Yes.
Just a minute. Okay. You get where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
So, it took you 30 seconds to get in. According to you, when you got there, he's standing poised.
Correct.
To bat.
Not poised, standing there holding the bat, almost in anticipation of my arrival. It was during softball practice.
No.
It wasn't
Okay.
a game.
No. Now, Mr. Crowell, I have a couple of questions for you. Would you do me a favor while I'm getting it? Would you just get the estimate of the windshield?
Sure.
I'm sure she has that as on the paper. Tell me about this league that you play with, sir.
We played in a county softball league. It was co-ed.
So you are part of a team.
Yes, I was the coach.
Okay.
I arranged the team and everything.
Fine. And how long has this group been playing together?
We started practicing in April.
Same group of guys and gals?
Yes.
How many are on the team?
At the time, there was probably 15.
Are there dues?
Yes, there were.
And what are the dues?
Well, it was $20 for each player for the players' fees, and then the team registration fee came out to be, if you had 15 people, $20 per person, and our sponsor paid the sponsor fee, the team registration dues.
Okay. You get where I'm going? I'm not sure you get where I'm going, so I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Because this is not really a very difficult case. I don't know whether you were at bat or whether you weren't at bat. It really is not relevant. You were the coach of the team, right? You put it together.
Yes.
The lead together. There is the question in my mind that the plaintiff's car was hit by a softball that somehow emanated from your team. Now, we have a totally innocent party, and that's this team over here. Totally innocent. They're driving along. And on the other side, we have some guys and gals who are playing softball, and certainly without intention, one of their members was responsible for a ball getting away. Who do you think should pay?
Well,
Take a deep breath before you answer that question, because we're talking here about responsibility. Not necessarily your individual responsibility,
right,
sir, but we're talking about baseball in a windshield, baseball on a baseball field.
I was willing to investigate the matter because we didn't know if the county would pay for it, since it was an organized practice and we're playing on their fields. So we wanted to look into that, and of course I was going to do that. There was also a gentleman that had been hitting before who had hit quite a few balls over the fence, and there was a couple...
From your league?
Yes.
Yeah.
None of them struck anything. None of them, they all bounced off the road, and this guy probably shouldn't have been hitting up there anyway because he's probably the best hitter on our team, but and being that the fence is so near the road.
Let's get on with it. Who do you think should pay for their broken windshield?
Not me.
Your team. Not necessarily you if you say you didn't hit a ball that far. And it's very possible that you didn't. And even the guy who was hitting before you, I'm certain didn't intend to cause any damage to anyone. But you got innocent people and you got the team responsible. So you take up a collection, you tell everybody, kick in $25, we're going to pay for the windshield. Period. End of discussion. Have an estimate here for $300.52. Judgment for the plaintiff. Get it from your team. That's all.
Sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Thomas, it is your claim that the defendant's son broke your son's nose.
Correct.
You want to tell me what happened?
Well, I was walking down the street because my friends said they were going to play football that day. None of them were out there. And then Tyra and Judith, the two girls that were like friends that lived down the street, and they were yelling out the window. And I didn't understand what they're saying. I was like, well, I'm gonna go home. Then Joe started coming to me, and he was like, what's up, what's up? And then he hit me in my nose. And then I said, I don't want to fight you, and he hit me in my nose, and it started to bleed.
So were you alone at the time he came up to you?
Yes.
Okay, now let's come to you, Ms. Thomas. How did you find out about your son's nose?
Well, the young lady, Tyra, is one of the girls that was with him, came running up to my...
I thought you said you were alone.
But they were coming out the door at the time. So as he walked up to me, they were coming out the door.
So one of the girls came to your house?
Yes, and she came running up to the door saying, hurry, hurry, Austin's bleeding, he needs you down the street. So I went running down there, and I saw him with his head back like this. There was blood everywhere, all over his clothes, on the ground. And I ripped off my tank top and put it to his face, and I asked him, do you know who did this to you? And they said, it's Joe, and he's right around the corner playing basketball. I said, take me to him. Take me to him right now. And I said, so you're the one who broke my son's nose. And he said, I ain't got time for your drama, B. And started going off on me. Like I was bothering his game of basketball when he just broke my son's nose. I said, so what, you just are going to break my son's nose and act like it's nothing? He's like, you. You know, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to stand out here and argue with a bunch of kids. So I went home, I picked up the phone, I called 911. The cops came out, took him home to his cousin. I had him delivered in a cop car.
Now I'll hear from you.
At first I was walking home from school, and then my best friend
asked me did I want to play basketball. So we was over his house playing basketball. His sister Tyra told him that some little boy around the corner was messing with her. So we went around the corner, and as was about to fight him, I stepped in the middle and I told him not to hit him. Then he was talking stuff, and he called
Who's he was talking stuff?
Austin.
Did you know him from before?
No, never seen this.
So what kind of stuff was he talking?
He was like, I'm not scared of him, I'm not scared of him. And then he called me a B, and then I just took off my jacket and I hit him twice.
You think that's okay?
If I felt like if I wouldn't hit him, then he would hit me.
But he didn't hit you.
I felt like he was about to.
What made you think he was about to hit you?
Because the way he looked at me.
The way he looked at you?
The way he looked at me.
Now, after you hit him twice in the nose, you went back to play basketball.
Yes.
And then his mother came up to you. She just told me that you cursed at her.
No.
Oh, yes, you did.
Well, she was cussing at me. She actually threatened me.
Well, how did she threaten you?
She said she would get a 15 or 16-year-old on me, and she said she'll kill me. That's when she stepped down the street like she was going to hit me, but my best friend, he stepped in front of me and told her to go on because she's not hitting me.
You have a police report?
Yes, I do.
Were you arrested?
Well, took it home, yeah.
After you were taken home, did you have to appear in juvenile court?
No.
Why didn't you press charges against him?
I did press charges, Your Honor, but they were telling me even if I filed him and received a misdemeanor on him for the assault charges, the only pain and suffering or anything that I could get was $300.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about teaching him a lesson. How many times have you been in a police car?
Just twice.
When before that were you in a police car?
Some little kids was busting windows, and they mistakenly put me in the police car on accident, and it wasn't me.
It wasn't you?
No.
Let me see your bills.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yes.
You know, and also when Austin had, after he had broke his nose, he told my son, he said to everybody in the neighborhood, he kept saying, well, that's what the white boy gets. That's what the white boy gets, you know. And my son, granted, he is light-skinned, but I don't care what shade you are, you know what I mean? This isn't about what color you are. It's about violating my child.
Absolutely right.
So that was another thing, because they think he's a white boy, and he's not just a white boy.
No, he's a boy.
Right, exactly.
He's a boy. What?
I don't feel like it's a racial thing here because my son is not racist, not at all.
He may not be, but he certainly has a little bit of a violent tendency.
I mean, that's all kids is like that. When
No,
you're
all kids aren't like
this
that.
he was.
All kids aren't
he
like
was
that.
cursing too.
Cursing
So-
is one thing. Listen to me. Your son went up to him, came around the corner, came up to him, and hit him in the face because he didn't like the way he looked at him, according to him.
No.
He looked as if he might be going to hit him, so he hit him first, twice. But he went looking for him. He came around the corner, and before he even found out what was going on, I mean, I read his answer. His answer was he was protecting some little girl that he thought he was teasing. He was in a confrontation with another friend. That's a lot of baloney. He came around the corner, and he hit him twice. And he's responsible. He's responsible for his broken nose. He's responsible for all the medical bills, and he's responsible for pain and suffering. He's responsible for that.
I understand that.
What? You want to say something, sir?
Yes. Your Honor, when I received a phone call from my wife that the incident had taken place, I rushed home. During the time that my wife was filing a report, she had noticed that two of the young men that were at the scene were walking by snickering. And so I asked him to come here, and I asked him, I said, you know what, I want to know which one of you two were the one calling my wife out of her name. And they began to tell me that Joe is one of the kids in the neighborhood that he thinks he has to go for bad or whatnot. He has to prove something to himself. And that the girls that he accuses my son of making fun of, we have written testimonies from the young ladies. They warned Austin to run because they knew that Joe was going to go up to him and fight him for no reason at all. I asked the police officer to make sure his mother calls us. She wanted to know what happened. And she explained to me that, you know, it doesn't surprise her that her son, you know, might have did this, but she wanted to hear both. She wanted to hear both sides of the story. She is well aware that Joe is one way with her and another way out in the neighborhood, and she can't understand why he acts that way because her other children, her other young boys, don't act that way.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
10-year-old Austin Saffel says neighbor 12-year-old Joel Jackson punched him in the face and broke his nose. Joel says he thought Austin was going to hit him first.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, I spoke to her one time as Austin's mother. She informed me that she wants to hurry up and get the court situation over with. And I just hung up on her. I flat out hung up on her. You know, how are you going to call me and tell me that we need to hurry up and get this over with? Well, so would I, but I have to go to an ENT for my son's nose. His nose has to be broken out 2 times because he has a lump coming out of the side of his nose. You know, hello, this doesn't end for me just because I go to court.
So you have to do additional medical procedures other than the $2,059 that you've already spent.
Yes, it's $85 just for us to show our face into the ENT clinic.
Could you step up, please? I want to take a look at your nose. Where is it broken?
It's broke right down here, right in here.
Mm-hmm. You have any medical report in your file?
Yes, I do.
Can I see you step back to your folks, please? Do you have any other report with regard to the procedure for re-breaking his nose and resetting it?
I asked them what it will cost for Austin's nose. They said every nose varies. Some noses run $1,000, some runs $500. They just don't know until they see it.
Well, right now you have about $2,100 in out-of-pocket expenses just for his medical visits.
Yes, and I have no insurance because my husband got a better paying job, and his insurance doesn't even kick in for 90 days. So this is, every time I've went, it's self-pay, self-pay. I mean, we work for a living.
Yes, we do.
Well, I'm glad that you're working.
I agree with that.
I'm glad that you're working.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to have any of these expenses out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You had no right to hit him. Don't look up at the sky. You're just very, very lucky that they didn't pursue this matter in juvenile court because they probably wouldn't have put you away. But you would have had a record. How old are you?
12.
12. So you would have had a record at age 12. That's not very smart. How many brothers do you have?
2.
They ever been in jail?
No.
They nice boys?
Yes.
Good. So you have good examples at home. What happened to you?
Nothing.
Ever been suspended for fighting in school?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. How did I know that? How do you think I knew that?
I don't know.
Wasn't that a good question? Look, I'm only giving you your medical bills up until today, plus some additional costs that you incurred. But you may have to bring an additional suit once you have additional medical costs, because I can't anticipate what those medical bills are going to be. Do you understand?
Yes.
So I'm issuing a judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. It covers your bills until today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't appreciate her cussing out my son the way she did.
When you see your child bleeding on a street and he's left there and you're just going to protect your child, I would say that sometimes you say things that just is not of you, but out of, frustration and anger.
And now the next case.
All parties on Zavala versus Johnson. Step forward, please.
20-year-old salesperson Brooklyn Zavala is suing her sister-in-law, 23-year-old restaurant manager Tiana Johnson, for babysitting fees and damage to her vehicle.
Mrs. Zavala, the defendant is your sister-in-law.
Yes.
According to your complaint, you provided daycare services for your sister-in-law's children.
Yes.
Then she decided to move. You did provide childcare for a few days, for which you were not paid.
Correct.
And then on the day that your sister-in-law was moving, it is your claim that she damaged a car of yours.
True.
What was your arrangement with regard to the childcare?
I was to get paid $2.37 per hour.
How did you come
per
to that
child.
figure?
Because that's what the state was allowing her to get. I was just to get the whole check from the Health and Welfare Office. I got a check for May, June, and July. And then in August, I watched them for 5 days.
Which 5 days in August?
2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Ms. Johnson, did you get a check from the state for those dates in August?
No, I did not.
Why?
Because they were taking me off that program at that time because I was moving.
She was supposed to get a check. I have record right here that it got sent back to Health and Welfare.
Let me see.
From her caseworker.
My caseworker told me that I was not getting a check for that month.
So it was returned.
Right.
So she did not, you're not claiming that she got the money and just didn't give it to you.
Right, I just didn't get paid.
Well, she's not going to pay you. You have to get your money from the state. That was your agreement.
They only pay a portion on that, so she would also have to pay on top of that.
Why? That wasn't your agreement.
Because
that wasn't your agreement, Ms. Zavala.
True.
Your agreement was that whatever money she received from the state, you would get.
Right.
And you never got any additional monies in the months that you did watch the children.
True.
Right? So why would you expect additional monies in August?
I estimated it from $237 for each child per hour.
Do you understand what
Yes,
I'm
I
saying
do.
to you?
I do.
I don't know what we're fighting about here for 5 days worth of daycare. If two people who are related to each other, except maybe the fight's about this damaged truck. So you want to tell me about the damaged truck?
Well, the morning of the 8th of August, we got a phone call saying we needed to come to Tiana's. Tiana had something to tell us. We were told she was leaving town because she was scared to death if her husband was going to kill her, which is her witness right now.
Go ahead.
Her brother and her also got in an argument, and because he was telling her that she shouldn't pick up and leave like that with 3 children.
Who should she leave the children with?
We were going to offer, or Sean and Christine, and then Delano and Amanda, which was also her brother and sister-in-law.
Okay. What happened when she left?
Well, we helped her pack, and a couple hours later, she just was leaving, wasn't watching where she was going, and backed into my car. She said sorry, didn't even get out of her van, and then left.
She was upset, I assume, right?
No, she was fine by then because we were just packing up and leaving. She was in a hurry to leave.
Why do you think she was in a hurry?
Because she had to meet with a couple people in Oregon that she was going with.
She said she had to leave because she was deathly afraid of her husband. You don't think that picking up and leaving and packing up very quickly and leaving with your 3 children, you're upset? I mean, I'm not giving...
That happened a month or 2 prior to her leaving. She was still going up and taking the kids up to his house
because he's their father
until 2 o'clock in the morning, and she's deathly afraid of him. These are the car estimates and pictures.
I also have a blue book value of the car as a trade-in and as retail value.
Well, you definitely hit her car.
She was parked at an angle right in my blind spot on a cul-de-sac, which you're supposed to be parked with the curve. She was parked straight out this way. And when I was backing out, I could not see her, and I hit her like this.
Okay. $900 worth of damage.
And the blue book value of the car as a trade-in is $375, and the retail value is $1,400. I think that's a large amount for damage. It's almost as much as the car is worth.
So what do you think the right thing to do is?
Actually, 4 days before she filed this suit, I had told my brother that I was going to give them some money. And she has not tried to contact me, tried to resolve anything, to even try to work out a payment or anything.
Well, what is everybody so mad about?
I think she's mad because I left and she was out of a job.
No, because I went and got a job 2 weeks later.
All I heard that day that I was leaving was, what about the check? What about the check? No, I'm going to miss you or anything. It was all about the check. No. The money.
Wrong, because I was trying to talk her out of going. I was scared for the kids' welfare because the van wasn't going to make it to West Virginia.
Did it make it?
No. She left it on the side of a highway and with all of their belongings in it, pretty much.
No, I didn't. I got the belongings there. My children were safe. My children were back safe.
Did the van die?
The transmission went out.
How did you get to your final destination?
With the rest of the party that I was traveling with. We had 3 different cars going.
Where were you going? Just
to West Virginia.
To what?
I had some friends up there.
Who were the other people?
Supposed to stay there. Some cousins, longtime friends of the family.
Well, were they going to live too?
Mm-hmm.
You just decided to all leave at the same time to go to West Virginia to live?
Right. There was a lot of circumstances following that.
Well, just give it to me in 30 seconds or less, would you?
Okay. They were deciding to leave, so I went over there. They offered me to go with them, so I decided, yeah, I would go.
Where were you all going? I mean, were you going to a farmhouse someplace? Where were you going to live?
No, I have a really good friend that lives up there, and she offered for me to stay with her.
How long did you stay there?
I stayed there a matter of 2 months.
And then where did you come?
I had to come back to the state of Idaho.
Why?
For a custody hearing.
And then you reconciled with your husband?
Somewhat, yes.
What does somewhat mean?
We're working on the situation.
Do you live under the same roof?
No.
What?
Can I stand up?
Of course, if you want to speak.
Yeah, what I was told by his mother was that...
It's hearsay.
Well, even he admitted it. She came back down for that custody hearing plus a battery hearing.
Against him?
Against him, and then they were still together during that whole issue. They came back and they're still together now, from what I heard.
I guess.
And the whole thing with the car is when she was up in West Virginia, I talked to her, said, you need to start making some payments. And that was like almost a year went by and nothing happened.
You owe them $900 to fix their car. With regard to the money for your 5 days of babysitting, I suggest that you take that up with the state.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Mathias, you hired the defendant's firm to re-roof your home.
Yes, ma'am.
And you claim that in the process of working in your home, they tortured your dog.
That's correct.
They entered your home without your permission, or someone entered your home without your permission. Nothing was taken, but you were forced to put new locks on the doors and windows. And you want the defendant to return the price of all the roofing materials that you paid for the house and for your aggravation.
Correct.
Okay. The defendant said his people didn't do anything and he should be paid for his work. I assume you were paid for your work, is that right?
No, I haven't been paid at all.
You haven't been paid at all?
No.
Okay. We'll see. What was the total cost of the job?
Total cost of the job after the second invoice was $7,597.
Can I see it, please? Did you give him any deposit?
No, ma'am.
So you gave him nothing?
No.
Did this price include the materials?
Yes, ma'am.
It did?
Yes, it did.
So you have paid for neither materials nor the roof?
I've paid for the materials, yes.
Who did you pay for the materials?
His supplier.
How much did you pay for his materials?
$2,400.
And is the material money that you want back?
Yes.
Oh. When were you supposed to pay him the balance?
I told him that I'd pay the balance after a person of the court told me to do so on good conscience. I cannot, after what happened.
Okay. Now, you were not at home when this work was done.
I arrived home at 3 o'clock and 2/3 of the job was complete.
You have, I assume, a witness who saw what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the witness? I assume you're the witness. Step up, please. Tell me your name.
My name's Karen Dick.
Are you a neighbor?
Yes, I am.
How far away from the plaintiff's house is your house?
They live directly across the street.
Would you tell me what you saw on that day?
Yeah, typically I get up in the morning and I prepare dinner for the kids. So I got up and I noticed out the window that we have over the sink that the neighbors were having their roof done. I went on about my business, and then as I'm looking out the window, I was at the sink doing something. I noticed there was a sort of a large dog. It wasn't a big dog. It was tall, but it wasn't too big. I didn't really recognize it. I've only been in the home with my boyfriend about 8 months, so I hadn't really met the neighbors. I've only said hello to them. I noticed the dog was on Joe's front lawn, kind of in the middle of about 5 gentlemen who it seemed like they were just kind of scurrying the dog. I didn't know if maybe the dog got out. They were concerned this dog's interfering with their work, if they were nervous. A few minutes later, I came back to the sink. I now noticed 2 of the workers have hammers in their hand, and they're swinging at the dog. The gates open, so I realized that the workers must have let the dog out. So at first I think maybe they're just trying to intimidate the dog.
What kind of gate was it? Was it a fenced yard?
It's a fenced yard, yes.
And you saw that
it was open, yes.
Now, when you saw them swinging these hammers, none of the blows connected with the dog?
I did not see that, no.
Okay.
As I'm watching, though, the dog's showing no aggression, so that wasn't the issue. And the dog is kind of scurrying back, and it's sitting back on its back legs. So it was surrendering. They could have easily put it back. At this point, now they're playing a game. The hammers are getting closer to the heads. They're laughing. They're smiling. They're going to hit that dog. So I'm screaming hysterically at the top of my lungs, please stop. What are you doing? And they get my attention, so I'm standing there to make sure they understand I'm standing there watching this. At this point, the 2 men walk away, and the dog's still there. I go back into the home, and my boyfriend's mother, who's about 82, comes into the house, and I'm trying to explain to her, because her English isn't great, I'm trying to explain to her what's going on, and I'm looking out over her shoulder. At this point, I see one of the 2 gentlemen with a rope in his hand starting to do this, and I know what he's going to do. And I'm watching this, and before I can react, he's already got the dog by the 2 back legs. He's yanked the rope, and by yanking the rope so hard, he forced the dog to flip over on the back side, and from the left side of Joe's house all the way to the front side, to the far right side of Joe's house, through the street, not on the side, but through the street, he drugged the dog on the dog's back. Okay,
I'm
sorry. Okay, I'm fine.
Was there any, when he did that to the dog, when he tied the dog's back legs, were they still right near the fenced-in yard?
No. Thank you. The gentleman that had the rope was standing in the street when he picked up the rope because he's walking down.
So the dog had moved?
The dog really hadn't really moved. The dog was still in the grass, from what I recall. He's still kind of on the grass. He hasn't really gone anywhere. The gentleman takes the rope, and he's walking this way. So he had gone down, I don't know if it's truck, I couldn't see from my window, but he was coming back. And when he came into my view, that's when he had the rope in his hand, and that's where he took the rope to the dog's legs. As he dragged the dog through the street, that's when I ran back outside, and I wanted to make my presence completely known that I'm watching this and I'm seeing who's doing this. Because he's tugged the rope so tight, there was no way for the dog to break free for quite some time.
How did the dog
Just by wiggling and wiggling and wiggling. At this point, the dog was able to run up to the front porch, and as I'm walking, because I'm moving this way, to see what's going on, the dog, I could see him burrow into the corner on the porch to just be left alone. The gentleman who had the rope walks up and kind of goes down and starts going, trying to get the dog to be nice. And I'm thinking, if you've done all this to the dog and you're not scared of the dog at this point, how could anyone evenly conceivably say that you were just intimidated by this dog and that's why you did any of this to get the dog back in the backyard? There was no intimidation by this dog. So I'm just standing there. I'm not going to leave until I can see this dog put back in the backyard. Eventually, the man does sit there. He pets with the dog, and he picks the dog up, and he does eventually put the dog in the backyard, close the door. I go in the house, and I don't know what to do. Again, I don't know the neighbors that well. I'm thinking, should I call the police? I don't want to stir something up, call the police, and then have a problem with the neighbors. So I'm thinking it's better for me to advise them first. I have to go to work, so I call my boyfriend, tell him what's going on, to please make sure that they're aware of what happened, to let them know when I come home from work, I will fill him in on the details. After I'd done that, I noticed the truck was open, and I saw the phone number, so I called the number to see if I could talk to the owner of the company to tell him to please come out, and I would speak to him personally. When I called, the gentleman said that I'd have to leave my phone number, someone would have to call me back, and I wasn't comfortable with that. So I figure it's better for me to let things be until I get home to bring this out. And then that evening, that's when I went over and spoke to the Mathiases and told them what I had seen.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Monica and Joseph Mathias claim employees of contractor Glenn Matheson tortured their dog. The Mathiases say the workers hogtied their pet.
You also claim, Mr. Mathias, that the house was open.
Yes, it was.
Do you have a witness to that?
I have a witness from our mail carrier that said that she delivered...
No, you don't have a witness. If you don't
no, you're correct. I do not have a witness. I have a letter from the mail carrier. Okay, the mail carrier stated to me...
You can't tell me what the mail carrier stated. Okay. You can't give me a letter. I have to see a witness testify. You see, testimony is powerful. I can make a determination as to credibility, etc. There's no question that there was no property taken from your house.
I don't believe there was, no.
Good. You weren't there that day?
No, I wasn't.
So you don't know what happened?
Correct. Just from what my foreman, Bernie, just told me.
Okay. What's Bernie's last name?
Ramirez.
Mr. Ramirez, would you step up, please? You were supervising these men that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you watching them at all times?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see what happened with the dog?
Yes, I was there too. I was, when the dog came out, I was talking...
When the dog came out of where?
From the yard.
How did the dog get out of the yard?
One of my workers go inside to collect the electric power extension cord, and the dog, he leave the door open, and then that's when the dog come out.
So one of your workers allowed the dog to get out?
Right.
Were you told, sir, that there would be a dog there?
Paperwork that I provide suggests that they keep the dog at a neighbor's house or inside the house.
That's not what I asked
No,
you.
I didn't know there was a dog there.
Okay. Go ahead. So one of your workers let the dog out?
So the dog come out, and I start playing on the front of the yard. And I was talking to him by the phone, and so I saw the dog running, you know.
Running in the front yard?
On the front yard, in and out. And then, so I'm scared because I said, well, maybe the dog is gonna go away. So I tell my workers. So two workers come out from the roof to try to put the dog inside, back in the yard. But I never saw the No, nobody hit the dog, nobody touched the dog.
No, there was no testimony that anybody hit the dog with the hammer.
Yeah,
There was
and
testimony that they were motioning to the dog with the hammer. Did you see the dog being tied up by the back legs?
no.
Well, that happened because there is no question in my mind that this lady is telling me the truth. Any question in your mind that the neighbor is telling me the truth, sir?
I have no idea. I don't
Well,
know the
I
neighbor.
know, if you have no idea, I'm going to tell you that this lady is telling me 100% truthfully that the dog was tied up by the legs and pulled in the street. And if your worker, Bernie, didn't see that, then he didn't see everything. There isn't a reason in the world that this neighbor, who doesn't know these people from a hole in the wall, would come to court and lie for her and pick up the phone and call your company to tell your company.
I've got records that she didn't call.
Oh,
I get a log of every call that comes into my office.
that somebody records.
Correct.
So nobody recorded. Just a second.
No, either name or number. They
No.
don't care. They'll record a message.
She
Whatever
wasn't
the message
leaving her
is.
name and number.
Correct. She left a message. I show no message.
That's your problem.
Well, it
That's your problem.
It states that she didn't call me.
She called you.
She didn't.
Oh, yes, she did.
I don't have record of it. Every call that
But
comes
just
into
because,
my office
no, listen to me,
gets
sir.
recorded.
Listen to me carefully. Don't get defensive. You weren't there. Fortunately, you weren't responsible for this. But I can think of no reason why this woman, who is new to the neighborhood, would be so upset about what she saw to go outside, get the number from your truck, come inside, place a call, speak to somebody who said to her, according to her, which I believe 100%, leave me your number, somebody will call you back. She said, I'm not leaving my number, thank you very much, and she hangs up, and nobody records it in your log.
She said that they took a message to get me out to the job site.
No, that's not what she said. That's what you wanted to hear.
That's what I
What
thought.
she said was she wanted somebody to come to the job site, but they said to her, give me your name and your telephone number, and I'll have someone call you back. And she did not want to do that.
But she requested to leave a message. That message would have been taken and recorded
I didn't
and
say
sent to me.
Just to say, I heard what you said.
Correct.
You're not hearing what I'm saying?
I'm hearing.
I believe she called.
I don't believe she called.
Then that's your problem. Fortunately, I'm in charge. I don't know if Bernie is lying intentionally or if he didn't see everything or if he wasn't watching what was going on there. You think these people are trying to scam you out of a roof?
I believe they're trying quite a bit. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
No. I think that the men that you hired did not do the right thing that day, and they were very angry. Whether or not it translates into them suing you for $5,000, I don't know. But there's no question in my mind, after listening to Bernie and listening to the neighbor, that she is telling me the truth. Bernie, two things. He either did not see everything or he's lying. Because he did not put the dog back in the pen.
I've never known
He
Bernie
did
to
not
lie.
put the dog back in the pen, Bernie. She says somebody came to the front door, one of the men came to the front door and ultimately picked up the dog and put it back into the yard after they got finished doing the stupidity that they were doing to this dog.
I was told the dog was dragged back into the garage. Getting a lot of conflicting stories.
Not
from
to
this
me.
side. Of course not.
Not to me.
I have.
Not to
I've
me.
received a number of different stories. And the dog doesn't get taken to the vet till 2.5 days, 3 days later after I tell him, no, I'm not going to settle for this. I'm not going to take your word or your neighbor's word. I'm not going to give you a financial benefit for this. I said, what do you want? He says, I want money from you. I own your company. I want a free roof. I said, I'm not going to give you a free roof. I'll sleep on it. He sleeps on it, comes back and says, I don't want to pay your labors. You know they're lying to you. You know anyone will lie in order to get paid. Well, to this day, they haven't been paid.
Two people attached to your company did the wrong thing that day with the dog.
It wasn't proven. You have
It's
one
proved.
witness.
Just a second.
You've got
It's
the
proven
vet
to-
who says there's nothing wrong with the
Just a
dog.
sec. I didn't say that the dog was injured, sir. The dog was maltreated. The dog was
She could have
maltreated.
misconstrued what was going on in some parts, yes.
No. This lady didn't come out twice screaming because she was misconstruing what was going on.
She was concerned about how scared she was. Call the police. The police could have been there and taken care of everything. Everything would have been solved right then and there.
It's a possibility. She could have done that. She
But
could
she
have called the
didn't.
police.
So there was
Give me a reason. Think of a reason.
Why she didn't call the police?
No, think of a reason why she would lie. I can think of a reason why Bernie would lie.
Why is that?
Because he was responsible. He was the foreman on the job. He was responsible ultimately for the performance of his men and
He's
what they
performed
did.
jobs
I'm
for me for 12
speaking.
years.
I'm speaking. He was responsible ultimately for the performance. And if he came to you and said to you, I did, in fact, see two of my guys who didn't know what they were doing, who were just sort of fooling around with the dog, and one did put a lasso around the legs, but meant to put it around the head to get it back into the house, or he didn't see everything, or he figured, say nothing. I can think of a reason for him to lie. I can't think of a reason for her to lie.
And I can't think of a reason for him to lie.
Well, I can. So, and that's the only thing that counts. So, you have to prove damages to me, sir. What were your damages? So far, you got a $7,500 roof for nothing.
Yes, ma'am. The hardware replacement for the door locks and everything.
Listen to me. I'm not entertaining your claim for any door locks.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm concerned, they didn't do anything with regard to going into your house.
Okay, I felt in good conscience I should pay the materials for the roof. I'm not going to pay him until an officer of the court tells me to pay him for the labor.
Well, that's not...
Or anything like that.
Yeah.
The pet clinic was $31.
Let me see the vet reports.
And all the material has not been paid.
I have the receipt for
Material
that,
from
Your Honor.
ALL has been paid, but not material from my yard. Not all material came from ALL.
Your countersuit is for $4,500 for defamation of character and lost wages. The defamation of character, I assume, has to do with these people saying things about your business.
Correct. Contacting the Better Business Bureau, threatening to contact the newspaper, and degrading my company.
They are entitled to do that.
Your Honor, he's also put a lien on my house, I believe.
I have every right to lien the house. I haven't been paid for
You're
for a job.
absolutely right. Is this lawsuit supposed to determine that?
No.
So then why am I hearing your countersuit?
It's not for the lien on the house.
Well, what is it for?
It's for loss of wages for my men for the day, loss
what
of
day?
work, for today, for being here.
For today?
Correct.
Forget it. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I believe that they have a perfectly valid claim against you because I believe that the people who represent your company did the wrong thing that day. First, they negligently let the dog out of the yard. That, at least, we know from Bernie. And after that, Bernie told them to go and take care of it. Then one of them dragged the dog across the property, not even the property, not even the grass, but into the street,
With
in
no
the gravel.
damages to the dog.
What?
No injury to the dog. After all this horrendous treatment of the animal.
412 on the calendar in the matter of Gilbert versus Von Lossberg. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Gilbert, you were a tenant of the defendants for approximately a year and a half. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Did you have a lease?
I believe it was a month-to-month lease, yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
You did not have a long-term lease. You were there month to month.
That's correct.
Your claim is that the defendant evicted you,
That's correct.
and in addition to evicting you, she destroyed some of your property, and she kept some of your security deposit. You also want her to pay for storage of your stuff, moving costs. So let's start with this. You did not have a lease.
That's correct.
You claim she evicted you.
Yes, ma'am.
She says that you voluntarily left. Let's get to that.
Item A that I have in evidence is a 30-day notice to quit that was taped to my door the day August 2nd, which is the day that most of this occurred.
You want to tell me briefly what happened that day?
I enjoy very much working in my yard. On this morning, I had finished the night before, just coming home after 3 months of work. I'm home for only 7 or 8 days, and I'm gone another 3 months. Did the gardening, and a stranger walked into the front yard. I picked up my hose that was watering some plants, and I asked him what he was doing. I went outside. I was inside when I asked him this. I went outside and asked him what he was doing, and was told to my face that he was my new gardener and that he was Mrs. Vaughn's nephew. And I explained that I'd done most of the yard work and that all he really needed to do today was cut the yard. He turned around and ran next door, immediately followed by Mrs. Vaughn and a good number of her other family members. And I explained that these plants were mine and I could do with as I wish. She immediately turned around and took one of the plants and stripped it right down to its bare stalks. That picture I have here, this is a former palm tree that Mrs. Vaughn at the time took and stripped of its branches. At that point, I was so angry, Your Honor, the only thing that I could think to do was to go inside the house and call the police, and that's what I did.
Was that the first time you had disputes with the defendant?
No, actually, Your Honor, I ordered Media One to install the cable service and a phone service and combine them with a DSL line into my house here. And immediately the next day, Mrs. Vaughn informed me that she did not like Media One as a company and did not approve of them coming to install this on her house without my obtaining her permission.
Mr. Gilbert, let me stop you for a moment, please, sir. You know what it is to be a month-to-month tenant. Month-to-month tenant means that she can give you this 30-day notice to leave, and she doesn't have to give you any reason.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So you are not entitled to moving costs, storage costs of your stuff, any other damages. You're not entitled to that. Is her house immediately next door to yours?
It was, yes.
Well, where you used to live. It
Yes.
still is. It didn't
Yes.
float away in the
Yes.
rain. It's still there. All right. She doesn't want somebody living next to her who calls the police on her because she destroys a tree. Right? Once, by the way, you put this tree in the ground, this tree does not become yours.
If I pay rent on a property that I maintain until I leave that property, is the property not mine, Your Honor?
No, the property is not yours, sir. The property always is hers. And while it's not nice to do this to a tree, I could understand why this lady didn't want you living next door after the police were called even once, even though you may have felt that you had cause because she stripped the branches of this tree. So she's entitled to evict you, so you're not entitled to those damages. However, you also have a claim, sir, for withholding your security deposit. How much security deposit did she withhold?
She withheld $779.80, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Ms. Vaughn? You admit that you withheld some security deposit, is that right?
I have a hearing problem.
Well, I can't shout any louder.
I'm sorry.
I
heard you say something about a...
Did you withhold security deposit?
He had an $1,100 security deposit. When he moved out, I spent a portion of that to clean the apartment because when he left another person in that house that was sleeping in the living room. When I entered the place after he left, the sink was littered with beer cans, whiskey bottles, and whatever.
Show
and
me
I
pictures.
spent money for cleaning that.
Show me pictures.
I didn't take a picture. I'm
sorry. You
sorry.
got a problem.
But I refunded him $300 and some out of the security deposit.
You have to show me, Miss Vaughn. Do you hear me carefully? You have to show me exactly what you spent.
I think I do have the receipts here, Your Honor.
Let me see. You can show it.
He'll have to assist me.
Your Honor, I can maybe save you some time. I have a copy of both the receipt
Let me
and
see.
the deposit refund form she sent me.
I have to excuse you, but you're 80 years old.
Your Honor, I claim that receipt to be a company that doesn't exist.
Oh, right there.
That the handwriting on it matches the form.
Just a second, just a second, just a second.
Okay.
Plus the damages on the outside of the house.
What's the name of the company that repaired the doorbell, painted and cleaned, and put in new locks?
I don't know what the name of the company is.
Now, what's the name of the company?
It doesn't have a heading on it. Don't have it on there. Otherwise, my...
Miss Vaughn?
Yes.
Either I don't believe that you did all this stuff, or I believe that somebody else did it for you, like a family member. You are not entitled to put in new locks. You're entitled to clean if you show me that the place was filthy. That was $70. You have two different bills here for painting, one for $350 and one for $380. But nowhere does it tell me who did the painting.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand that.
There's no proof.
That's right.
And you have no pictures to show me of what this place looked like.
No, I didn't think of...
Who are you?
I'm her witness, her daughter.
Come on. Do you live with your mother?
No. I live on one side of my mother, and he lived on the other side of my mother. And my daughter lived 2 doors down.
I don't care where everybody lived. Did you go into the house on the day he left?
Yes.
Did you take pictures of the house on the day he left?
My daughter did. I didn't.
Fine. Where are the pictures?
She has since moved to Pomona, and
that's not my problem. You don't have the pictures.
Before he moved, she told me that she
I don't care what. Listen to me.
Right.
Listen to me.
All right. I was
You
told...
can't tell me what anybody else told
Okay.
you. You can tell me. Pay careful attention. Listen. I want you to start receiving. Did you see anything else? Look at me. Did you see?
Yes.
What else did you see?
He had put up some shelves in the utility porch in the back.
Yes.
that weren't there before he rented.
Yes.
And instead of washing the walls or to make things right, he either spot painted or spot cleaned, because when you look down the angle of the wall, you could see splotches where he had either spot painted or spot cleaned.
Sounds to me as if he was a very good tenant.
And
listen to me. You want to bring paid bills from somebody that's reputable, that puts their name on a receipt. You can do that. This is nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Can I say something?
Sure.
When I was served with a subpoena to appear in court, I did not, he said he was suing me for $3,000 with absolutely no reason of what his intentions were of collecting this money. I could have gotten the company, the man that did the work, to come in today had I known how to defend myself. But I had absolutely no idea of what this man is suing me for.
Okay. He was suing you for $3,000. Initially, he's not going to get $3,000, and I told him that. But he is going to get his security deposit back.
No, he got it all back.
No, he didn't, and he's going to get it back because there is no basis for you to withhold the vast majority of his security deposit.
Can I show these to the court as part of the damages?
Let me see. I asked you if you had pictures. You said no. What are you showing me?
That's what he ordered Media One without my permission, and he drilled holes in the floor, the side of the wall, and the building as it stands today needs to be painted and repaired.
Oh, goodness gracious me, madam. Looks to me as if he maintained your house in
And I have the name.
Quiet and listen. It looks to me as if he maintained your home in pristine condition. Anybody that maintains the outside of this house the way he did not maintain the inside like a pig pen. What?
Your Honor, he was running a business outside of a residential home, and that's why I called Media One, and I asked him why he had run all the wires into the house, drilled through the floor, drilled through the walls, as the pictures will indicate.
Show me where you paid to have the holes refilled.
They haven't.
No,
Good.
I'm going to have a lawsuit. I intend to sue him for that. This will follow up.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $779, which is the amount of the security that was withheld from you, sir. She had no right to withhold your money. You are getting your security deposit back. Goodbye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
As long as he had his way, he was a good tenant, but don't cross him because then immediately he thought that I was his enemy.
Never live next door to your landlady, ever.
And now the next case.
All parties on Oswego versus Bell. Step forward, please.
38-year-old registered nurse Yvette Oswego is suing 38-year-old receptionist Lisa Bell for burning her scalp during the process of relaxing her hair.
Miss Oswego?
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, about a year ago, the defendant did a hair procedure on you, and according to you, burned your scalp and your hair fell out.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to what I read in your complaint, this procedure was done in the defendant's kitchen.
In her mother's kitchen.
Why?
That was the place that she advised me to come to have my hair done.
What were you doing to your hair?
She was relaxing, putting a relaxer in my hair.
Your Honor, that was not...
How did you find her?
I met the defendant through her sister. Miss Peach told me that her sister was a licensed beautician and that she had graduated from beauty school and was looking to build her clientele up.
So you went to her mother's house and she started to put this product on your head?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when she put the product on your head?
It began to burn.
No, you're...
And when she got ready to wash the chemical out, she took me into the kitchen because I told her that it was burning rather badly. But the sink was full of dishes, and so she had to clean the sink out, and she had to get the faucet to work. And she made the comment to her mother, "That's why I don't like to do hair over here, because your faucet is messed up." So my scalp felt like it was on fire. I mean, I was literally standing on one leg saying, "Please hurry."
Do you think it was very smart to go to somebody's house to have your hair relaxed?
Ma'am, in the African American community,
Sometimes people have shops set up in their home.
Yes, but then it looks like a beauty shop. It doesn't look like a kitchen with dishes in the sink.
Well, she had the chemical on my hair by that time when I realized that she was going to have to go into the kitchen.
Okay, what happened to your hair after this process was done?
I have pictures for ma'am.
Can
My
I see it,
hair,
please?
there's a before and after.
Now, this happened a year ago. What took you so long?
I tried contacting Miss Bell on several occasions, and she agreed. She said, well, my instructor told me she don't see how you sit in the chair if I was burning you that bad. I said, well, if you recall correctly, I told you you were burning me and asked you to wash it out.
So what did you want her to do?
I wanted her to assist in paying for treatment for my hair.
Did you have treatments?
Yes, ma'am.
How much were the treatments?
I had several treatments. This gentleman, my hairstylist here, did my hair.
Afterwards?
Right.
Step up, please. Tell me your name.
Henry Jerome Clay.
Can you describe what you saw when you saw her?
When Miss Osuebo came to me, she made an appointment to get a relaxer. But after consulting with her and examining her scalp and everything, I told her there was no way I could do a relaxer.
She wanted another relaxer?
Well, new growth had started growing out, and black women, they mostly want their hair to look good, you know, and she wanted to try and get the situation better. But my suggestion to her was get some treatments first. Start taking care of her scalp, get her scalp back healthy, and then cut all her hair off and start all over again.
So what kind of treatments did you provide for her?
I gave her a deep penetrating conditioner for her scalp and her hair as well. The hair that she previously had on there during the relaxer procedure, it was breaking off because it had burned all the way through the cortex of her hair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Miss Bell, I have a couple of questions for you. You ready?
Yes.
At the time that you took care of the plaintiff, were you a licensed beautician?
No, I was not.
So why do you think that you were allowed to work on strangers?
Well, I didn't think that I had right to, but she knew that I was not licensed. She knew that I had just graduated from beautician school.
You were told that she had graduated from beautician school, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But you had not yet passed the licensing exam.
Correct.
Well, a lay person, that means a person who's not in the business, wouldn't know that you had to pass a licensing exam before you could work on somebody. She was told that you had graduate of beautician school and therefore assumed that you could work on her. Now, you're not allowed to work on her, right?
Right.
You must be her sister?
Yes.
I know that you want to tell me something, so I'm going to let you tell me what you want to tell me. Step up here. What? You're Miss P.
Yes, I am. When I met Yvette in graduate school, I had specifically told her that my sister had just graduated from school. She had not passed her, she had not even taken her licensure exam.
You told her that?
Yes, I did.
Did she tell you that?
No, ma'am.
Oh, I don't think so. Sit down. No. You don't say that to somebody. Try my sister. She's graduated from school, but she hasn't even taken her test yet. She's not licensed yet.
Yvette has specifically told me that her niece used to do her hair.
You want to let your sister-in-law, your sister, your mother give you a home perm. That's one thing. I once gave a home perm to my best friend. It's amazing that we're still best friends 50 years later. She could have used a relaxer. But we were only 12, you see, at the time. But you don't work on strangers. Did you ever get your license?
No, I didn't go back to get my license.
Why not?
I took my test, but I did not. I passed my practical, but
you failed the other part.
Right.
So you failed the test.
The written exam.
You failed the test.
Yes.
You were never licensed.
Yes.
Well, that's why you don't work on somebody. Miss Bell, what kind of work are you doing now, madam?
Oh, I'm a receptionist.
Good. Good. You had no right to work on her. You placed her at risk, and you are responsible for all of the damage that you caused. The plaintiff is suing for $3,000. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of the request, $3,000.
Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Ms. Fox, the defendant is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And you claim she has a ring of yours.
Yes, ma'am.
That she refuses to return.
Yes, ma'am.
How did she come into possession of the ring?
My daughter asked me the day after Christmas for a loan for diapers and such, food for my grandchildren. I didn't have any money. I had a ring. She asked me if she could pawn my ring. I said she could. She was supposed to give it back to me on January 1st. The ring never came back to me.
How was she supposed to give it back to you January 1st?
She was going to pay the $150. I have the original pawn slip. My daughter went in with the false pawn slip to the pawn shop with Terry Sprague's. And at this time, I went in and I spoke with the pawn man. I was quite upset, and he told me my daughter had come in January 19th, or excuse me, the 20th, Your Honor, and Terry and Ginger, and it's killing me because I love my daughter. Terry went with my daughter, took off every one of her little diamonds to get my big diamond. And
she took off just a second. What does that mean? I don't.
Terry wanted my diamonds so bad that she took off all of her little diamonds to get my diamond out of the pawn shop. Ray told me, or excuse me.
Oh, you can't tell me what somebody else told you.
Okay. I have asked my daughter for the ring back. She says she doesn't have it. When I spoke with the pawn shop man, he explained to me very clearly.
Don't tell me what he explained.
Well, he told me that Terry had my ring. I must tell you, Your Honor, that I did go to Mrs. Sprague's, asked for my ring back, and she slapped me across the face and said that she sold it to a hooker on D Street.
Did you do that?
No, I didn't.
Well, step up. What did you do to her with her ring? Look at me. What did you do with her ring?
I have the ring.
Where is it?
It's at home. When Mrs. Fox came to my home, she was intoxicated, and she was out on the front porch with my husband for a long period of time.
Just a second. What were you doing with her ring?
The ring belongs to Ginger. Ginger was afraid that Robin was going to get the ring out of the pawn shop because she had stolen the pawn tickets from Ginger's home because the pawn tickets were gone.
Well, let me ask you this question. Miss Ginger, tell me how you say you came into possession of the ring.
I've had the ring since '98. I have proof right here from the pawn shop in South Lake Tahoe.
Okay. I'm going to take a look at that.
At that time, there was no stolen
Just a minute.
report.
Well, what were you doing with this ring?
She had gave me the ring in October of '98.
Why?
Her and her husband had broken up.
Yes.
And she was going to be getting a lump sum of alimony, and she did not need the ring anymore. She gave it so my husband or my fiance and I could get married.
Did you use it to get married with?
No, we have not got married yet.
Why haven't you gotten married in 2 years?
A lot of things have happened since then between her and I, and we just haven't had a chance to.
So why don't you give her back the ring?
She gave it to me.
Oh, well, why don't you give it back to her? Mother wants her ring back. Why don't you give it back to her?
Well, because of the fact she went to the pawn shop and got out another ring, forged my signature to it. I also have evidence here of that.
Whose ring was that she got out of the pawn shop?
This one was mine also. You know, I didn't count
it. Just a second. Where did you get it from? The second ring.
I've had it for a long time.
Where did you
From
get
my
it?
fiance.
So are you telling me that your mother forged your signature and took out a ring that never belonged to her?
Yes.
Yes, and I was with her when
When
we
did she
went
do
to
that?
2/26/01.
Let me see it. When did you take this ring out of the pawn shop?
I think it was January 22nd.
So before this February 26th date.
That's why I had gotten out the big ring.
You got out the big ring before you say she went back and took out this ring.
Your Honor, because she was afraid that that's what she was going to do with the stolen pawn ticket and go get the ring out of the pawn shop after she had already given it to Ginger.
What made you fear that?
Because she stole the pawn slips off of my bulletin board at home.
So why didn't you take both rings out?
I didn't have enough money. That's why I borrowed the money from her.
Is that why you gave her the rings? You borrowed the money from her and gave her the rings?
Yes, the ring. It's one.
What I still don't understand from you, young lady, is let us say that you are correct, that your mother gave you that ring 2 years ago so that you would have a ring to be married in. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
And yet this second pawn slip that you show me is for a wedding set.
It was a different wedding set.
But a wedding...
yes.
I understand that. A different wedding set. So you already had another wedding set to get married in.
It was after the she
Okay, after before. You already had another wedding set to get married in, right?
Yes.
So if your mother gave you a ring, and the purpose of that ring was for you to be married in, and that never happened, why don't you give her back the ring?
Because that's the ring that we're still going to get married with.
Maybe she'll give it back to you again.
I don't want to have nothing to do with her after
Then
this.
give her back her ring. You have the ring?
I don't have it in my possession right now.
Oh, I understand that you just told me you don't have it in your possession right now, but according to your testimony, you have it at home.
Right. And I paid it $180 to get it for Ginger.
Well, no, Ginger owes you that money. Do you understand? Ginger owes you that money. You gave her the money, she needed the cash, she gave you the ring for collateral. Nobody's giving you a $4,800 ring for $100, right?
I had the ring appraised. The ring was not appraised for $4,800.
How much was it appraised for?
It was appraised for $25.
Well, then you still got a bargain. $180 for a $2,500 ring, right?
Yes.
Right. The ring goes back to the plaintiff. You got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect. Now, you may not want to talk to your mother anymore, but at one time, clearly 2 years ago, you and your mother enjoyed a reasonable relationship because, according to you, she gave you a ring because you were going to get married and she wanted you to have a nice, that's if I believe you, and she wanted you to have a nice ring to get married in. That's if I believe you. So clearly at that point, you were on good terms with your mother. The fact that you have a new wedding set that you also pawned, people live on pawned stuff.
I don't have that anymore. She has it. She forged my signature to that.
Well,
I no longer have that one.
How do you know she did that?
The signatures don't match.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Robin Fox says her daughter Ginger Wilson stole her wedding ring. Ginger says the ring was given to her as a gift.
Did you retrieve this wedding set from Las Vegas Pawn?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Where is that ring set?
It's with me. It was my...
You have it.
Yes, ma'am.
What does it look like?
It is a wedding set. It has one diamond on, and then there's a bunch of diamonds around it. It's 2 rings. It's a size 5. It is mine. I inquired it within 1 year ago. I almost remarried, and it was mine. My daughter was so scared to go back into the pawn shop because I was at the time trying to
Ginger
press
had
criminal.
it. Ginger pawned it.
Yes, she did.
Ginger had it. Ginger pawned it.
Yes, she did.
This is not the ring that you're suing for here.
No, ma'am. It has nothing to do with...
Oh, yes, it does,
Oh, it
because that
does.
has to be returned to her.
No, that's my ring. That is my ring. My daughter had it in the pawn shop.
How did she get it in the pawn shop?
She asked for another loan. I have given her so much money for my grandchildren. What am I to do? She has a drug problem. I love her. I want her clean. She's beat me up. I can't take it anymore, Your Honor. I cannot take it anymore.
You wear a size 5 ring?
Yes. Yes,
Just
I
a second.
do.
You wear a size 5
ma'am.
ring?
Yes, I do.
Just a second. Let's see. And this is a size 5 ring, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. What size ring do you wear?
I have no idea.
Well, let's try.
Whatever.
Let's try it on the plaintiff first. It's a little bit smaller than a 5.
It almost goes on. It's a little bit
Let me
smaller
see.
than a 5. I can
Yeah,
shove
mine
it
is a
on
little
if
bit
you want.
smaller than a 5.
Okay.
Now let's see how far it gets on the defendant.
It won't fit on my wedding finger at all.
None of my rings.
It ain't your ring.
I never had it sized. That
It
ring
nev-
is mine.
You don't have it sized. You don't have it sized from a 5 to a 9.
I didn't steal the ring. That ring was from my fiance.
No, it wasn't. Get out of here. You haven't worn a size 5 ring since you were 6 years old. I know what a size 5 ring looks like.
Yeah, I know that.
You're right. Keep the ring.
Thank you.
The ring goes back to her. She owes you $180. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
5 days. Do you know where your local police precinct is?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Where is it?
It's in Victorville.
What day is good for you?
Saturday,
What time?
2 o'clock.
This Saturday at 2 p.m. You appear with the ring at your local precinct in Victorville. You bring the ring, you bring the receipt. Clear?
Yes.
That's all.
Thank you.
All right, excused. You may step out.
The one she had forged the signature to is not hers.
It was very hard for me to do this. I love my daughter. I'm very sorry, but I had to get my ring back.
And now the next case.
All parties on Berger versus Feldstein. Step forward, please.
20-year-old former nanny, Sierra Berger, is suing her one-time employer, 45-year-old business consultant Julia Feldstein, for the payments on a car she helped her buy. Julia is countersuing for expenses she incurred.
All right, Miss Berger, you were working as a nanny
Yes.
for the defendant. You needed a car. You had an old car that wasn't any good, and according to your complaint, Miss Feldstein agreed to take out a loan in her name because you couldn't get a loan in your name. The car is titled, I gather, in both of your names.
Mm-hmm.
Your employment terminated.
Correct.
And Miss Feldstein took back the car. You want all the money that you put into the car. Miss Feldstein is counterclaiming because she says she has been forced, in order to maintain her credit, to make certain payments on the car. And that's what this lawsuit is about. You couldn't get a loan on a new car.
Correct.
And what was your financial arrangement? How much were you paid?
I was paid $600 a week.
So you were able to afford this car?
Yes, I was.
Miss Feldstein made you an offer.
Yes.
Tell me what that offer was.
She offered to put a loan for a new car under her name. When we got the loan, we didn't really make an arrangement of when I was going to refinance the car or how long the loan was going to be for. We entered into a 6-year loan, and there was never really a discussion on what the arrangement would be. When we decided that I was no longer going to work for her, she told me that I couldn't use the car unless I continued to work for her. And I didn't feel that was fair because I had been paying for the car and I had full coverage insurance on it. She made me sign a letter stating that if I decided not to work for her, that I had to turn over the keys right then.
Go ahead.
I do have the letter with me.
Can I see it, please?
Yes.
Okay, this said that she had made a certain offer to you to hold the car for a month so that you could obtain financing and transfer ownership.
That's correct.
Okay. How did you expect her to obtain financing if she had no job?
Well, let's go back because this transpired a little differently. In February of 2000, she started looking for a car. And she talked about the used car, et cetera. And I said, why don't you talk to my broker? About 2 weeks later, she came back to me, and she asked me if I would do her a favor, which was to finance the car for her because she couldn't get financing. She said that when she was 18, she bounced a check, and this was a temporary situation is what I understood. And I did say to her, I said, well, what happens when you no longer work for me? And although we didn't really specify what would happen, I said, I guess we'll just jump off that bridge when we get to it. And I used that phrase. And she got leather interior and a few other things on it. It's a nicer car than what I drive. I signed on it, never promising to finance it for the full term.
I never promising not to.
Right. Then in March, which, yes, I agree with that. In March, my situation changed. I had to restructure all of my debt so that I could complete the settlement with my now former husband. And I was getting turned down. I was overextended. So I said to Sierra in the end of April that she needed to refinance the car. And that's when I found out that there was no way that she could get a loan on her own because my bank told me that there were credit problems that were, for whatever the basis was, because I didn't want to know. So then in February, when I terminated her employment with me, she said, I will do whatever it takes to keep that car.
Excuse me, Your Honor. First of all, I never went to Ms. Feldstein and asked her to put the loan under her name. Never once. I test drove a used car that I was going to buy. And she said, look, you already bought a new car, you had a bad experience with it, and that if I needed her to, that she would put a loan for a new car under her name.
Fine.
But yeah, I never went and
But now
asked
you're
her
in the
for it.
following situation. Where is the car now?
It's parked in my driveway.
Okay. So now you're in the following circumstance. Ms. Berger, you don't think that Ms. Feldstein owes you for all the money that you put into the car and your monthly payments since you drove the car all this time? You don't believe she owes you all that money?
Actually, I do have something on the miles that shows that the miles are on the car are all, or most of them, accumulated from services I did for Ms. Feldstein.
That doesn't make any difference. That was a condition of your employment. She was paying you $600 a week net. That is a lot of money for a nanny, and you know it. So, as a condition of your employment, you had a car. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's not go back. Let's not do that.
Okay.
When you buy a new car and you take it out of the showroom, that car's value decreases as soon as you take it out of the showroom.
Right.
And then, as you drive it, it depreciates further in value. All right, so even under the best of circumstances, the fact that you are seeking all the money that you put into this car is ludicrous.
Actually, I was asking her to settle with me for $2,000, but
Just a
she
minute.
said no. They
Of
offered
course
me
not.
$1,000.
Of course not. She's not going to settle with you. What you two ladies have to do is really quite simple. The car has to be sold, period.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'd like to, I've got the form here. I'm even asking her if she'll just sign it over. I will take care of everything. I'm going to lose another $3,000 just to sell the car.
You might, but
Well-
the problem is she doesn't believe that.
Oh.
You probably will.
Yes, I
but
know I will.
You probably will, but she doesn't believe that. All right. I mean,
It's
what was
not that I don't believe it. It's that I did try to finance the car. I went to Miss Feldstein. I asked her if I could have some time. She wouldn't let me have the time.
Listen, I don't care.
Okay.
That's not relevant. My best guess, Miss Berger, that if the car was sold, that there is going to be a loss and you will get nothing. Do you understand?
Yes.
Miss Feldstein, according to you, offered you $1,000 just to sign over the title to the car.
Mm-hmm.
My advice to you would be to accept that offer.
Okay.
Fine. Now, Ms. Feldstein,
Yes.
you have a counterclaim.
Yes, I do.
Your counterclaim is without basis because there was never any agreement between the two of you with regard to this 6-year loan. When you originally agreed to finance the car, what you did was you said, we'll jump off that bridge when we come to it.
Right. And I'm jumping.
And you're jumping. Well, that's a risk that you take when
That's
you do
right.
something so foolish. I mean, you're an
Right.
adult. She's a kid. All right? But bottom line is, you're going to be stuck with this car and making payments on this car
Yes.
unless you get out of it
That's right.
ASAP.
Right.
And if there was an offer for $1,000, I think it's a most generous offer. I think that the plaintiff should take it, and I'm entering a...
This is long. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. Urino, you and the defendant are neighbors.
Yes.
You built your home with the expectation of being able to run a business out of your home.
Yes.
And that business was selling used cars.
Yes, ma'am.
You invested a substantial amount of money building driveways and paving areas in order to comply with city regulations.
Yes, ma'am.
Thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes.
And when you applied for your permit to sell these used cars from your property, according to you, the defendant, as well as other neighbors, objected and were very vocal about their opposition to you selling used cars from your house, as a result of which you were denied a permit. And that started the trouble.
Your Honor,
She's
we weren't denied. We were approved first.
And then denied because of him and the neighbors.
So first you were approved, and then because of the opposition, denied.
One guy showed up and
Appealed.
appealed it.
And who was that?
Another neighbor.
Another neighbor.
Another neighbor.
Good.
Yes. He's next.
Now that started the difficulty with you and the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that you were particularly angry about is that this particular defendant runs a carpet cleaning business from his home.
Yes, ma'am.
So you say, how can he object to my business when he runs a business out of his home?
Yes, ma'am.
And then all kinds of things started. You claimed that he was dumping some stuff from his carpet cleaning business into the town sewers, and you were taking photographs of that, and arguments ensued, and you want damages because of the constant harassment by the defendants. Now, who's going to speak? You
I'll
are.
speak.
I assumed you would.
Yes.
So, Mrs. Urino, I'd like you to tell me, what is the basis for your lawsuit?
Okay, the basis for our lawsuit is harassment.
Give me the date.
The date is June 7th.
Okay, what happened on June 7th?
He came over to our property. We had taken a picture of him because it was like about 11:30, quarter to midnight. It was the night that we got denied.
It was the night that you were denied your permit?
Yes.
So what did you do?
We were out riding around because we were upset. Okay.
No, they were out.
I'll get to you in a second. All right. So you were very upset.
Yes,
Permit's
we were
denied.
upset. So we went to the store, we're coming home, and we see all this commotion behind our home. This man has run his business for 2 years. We never said a word, never complained. Well, we had it up to here. We went around the corner. I snapped 2 pictures of his. He had 5 employees out there, his 11-year-old daughter, 3 of his vans, a tow truck. I've got a photo of it. He had them all out there in the front yard, making all kinds of racket. So, snapped the 2 pictures, didn't say a word to anybody, went back to my house around the block. He comes skidding around the corner so fast. He starts cussing at my husband. He didn't get out in the beginning. He just had the window rolled down. So he started cussing. My husband got upset because they were cussing at each other, right? So he gets out of the van, and I thought they were going to fight. So I'm backing up towards the house. Meanwhile, I had my camera in my hand. I'm like this, you know. So I back up. He gets out of the van, and he's saying, "You ever come over my house?" He says, "On my street," he said, "I'll blow your heads off." I mean, but he said the word. So I'm looking at him. So anyway, so I thought they were, shut up. Shh. Up, sorry. Excuse me.
You'll have a turn.
All right.
Go ahead.
So we were standing there. He gets out of the van. He starts.
Well, he's already out of the
he's out
van,
of
and they're cursing at each. Listen to me, Miss Irina.
Okay.
They're out of the van, and they're both cursing at each other.
Right. So now I thought they were going to fight, and all he did was just stand there and kept yelling. So I snapped 2 pictures, which are the pictures I have here, showing my husband in the van and him angry, going away from my property because he was leaving. And then he skids back around the corner. Sure enough, half hour later, here come the police, tick, 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 at my door. We welcomed him in, explained to them what happened. They told my husband, "We're going to write you a citation." My husband says, "I'm not signing anything."
Just a second.
Okay.
What were they writing your husband a citation for?
They said that Ray Long told them that my husband punched in the door of his van.
And your husband said what?
My husband said, "I am not going to sign anything because I didn't do any damage to your van."
Right.
To the van. And he asked to see the van, and the police officers said no. They said, "Wait till the next day, and then you can see the van."
So they wanted him to sign an acknowledgement that he received the citation.
Right.
And your husband refused to do that, so what happened to him?
They put him in handcuffs in my living room, took him out for about now this all happened before the ticket was written.
I don't care.
Okay.
Listen, that's between you and the police department.
Right.
Idea was they wanted to give him a ticket. He had to sign for it. Your husband said, "I'm not signing anything." They said, "Oh, yes, you are."
Yes, you are.
They put him in handcuffs. Put your hand down. Your wife's not letting you speak yet.
Okay.
They took him outside, and they kept him outside. You blame him for that.
Yes, the officer went back around the corner, and then with him wrote the citation, and he signed it.
Right, of course, because your husband wouldn't sign the ticket.
Okay, he did sign the ticket. My husband did sign it.
Eventually.
Actually,
when they came back.
Mr. Urena, if you had signed this citation when the officer had given it to you, the officer would have left your house. Is that right?
Yes. No,
of
ma'am.
course. Oh, yes, he would have. Would
The
have said, "You have to
citation wasn't
respond to
written
this."
yet.
Ma'am,
It wasn't
can I-
there.
Can I speak now? Actually, they weren't writing the citation. They came over for me to sign it. They said that he was going to
Write the citation.
That he was citing me, not the police officer.
Let me read you from your complaint. When my husband refused to sign the ticket, he was placed in handcuffs and held for 45 minutes.
Yes, that was my, yes, okay.
That's what you said?
Yes, that's what I said.
Well, that's what happened. All right, what's next?
All the charges were dismissed against my husband because I took pictures of the van, dated pictures from the 7th through the 14th. There was no damage on that van. He had 2 pictures that he showed the judge that showed damage to the van. When he left my property, there was no damage on that van. So I don't know who damaged it, but it wasn't us. And all charges were dismissed. I've got right here. And also he got all the neighbors to lie for him.
Don't say he got neighbors to lie unless you have witnesses here.
I have
You
proof.
can't. No.
Timesheets.
Unless you have witnesses here, you can't say he got people to lie for him. All right. What's the next harassment?
Okay, and we had put in also, because he was complaining about our property, saying that because we are Mexican, that we are running a chop shop, and our car lot was supposed to be like a front to cover up for a drug ring.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Pauline and Richard Ureno say neighbor Raymond Long lied under oath, causing them to be denied a business permit.
Show me where he said that.
He said it verbally. He wouldn't put it in writing.
Where did he say it verbally?
He said it at the public response office.
Just a minute. Just 1 second.
Okay.
Were you present?
No.
then you can't tell me that. That's hearsay.
Okay.
All the neighbors say that, Your Honor.
Yeah.
All
Show
the
me a neighbor.
The neighbors aren't here.
Right.
Okay, so just the constant harassment. I've got pictures of police in front of my house that when they served, the pictures when the police came to serve us for the order of protection. I mean, these things that were
Who
things on
filed,
the
just
internet.
a second, 1 second. Who filed for an order of protection?
He did. That's the affidavit with the order of protection right here, where he states, and I can verify.
This is
he
his
lied.
affidavit for an order of
His
protection.
affidavit.
That I will see.
Okay.
He accused me of taking pictures of
Here's
his
my-
daughter. I didn't
this
even
is
know
it.
he had a
This
daughter.
is my timesheets to prove where I
Okay.
was on those nights.
I
that
didn't
he
even know
accused
this
me.
man had a wife. The whole time we seen this,
We
this
never
man
see him, Hardy.
behind us, we seen him up by himself in a house. Okay, I didn't know this man was married. I got kids, teenagers, you know, that I got 3 teenagers, and he's accusing me or my wife. We're not even sure
taking
which
pictures of
one
his daughter.
that we were taking pictures of his daughter when we don't even know. We didn't even know that he had a daughter, and I don't know what he really meant by that either. So he did nothing but lie on everything.
All right. Now, what happened with the order of protection? Did you receive an order of protection, sir?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Can I see?
It was a temporary order of protection for 30 days until the trial.
Well, was the trial completed?
Yes, it was.
And what
they
happened?
eventually did drop the case.
Okay.
I actually brought the order of protection itself.
Can I see it?
We got 2 citations, Your Honor. One was dismissed, and one was
Eliminated.
eliminated. In other words, we didn't have to go to court. They just called us on the phone one day, and they said it was eliminated.
Okay. Now,
We had this problem with this.
let's take the first basis for your suit here today, which is that he conspired with other neighbors to deny you an opportunity to earn a living from your home by complaining to the zoning board or whoever issues a permit, thereby causing them to reverse their original order granting you a permit.
Right.
They have an absolute right to do that,
Yes.
whether he did it or not. If somebody lives in a residential community and feels as if one of their neighbors is doing something that is going to devalue their property or impede their safety.
To complain, Your Honor, but not to
Not
lie.
to lie.
Not
Just
to
a
lie.
second.
And
Just
put
a
it down on
second.
paper and sign.
Just a second. I haven't seen a lie, and if you want to show me a lie...
I'll show you a lie. It's
Let
in
me-
your hands.
What?
The affidavit there that is with Justice Court that he filed, that he just told you he filed. He
I'm
said,
not talking about the order of protection, madam. I'm talking about your business, which really started this whole problem.
Right.
Show me where he lied with regard to his complaint.
He wouldn't put it in writing.
Then you have no proof that he lied with regard to his complaint that he didn't want you to sell used cars out of the front yard of your home.
Now, can I say something else?
No, you
Please?
have to answer my question, not say something else.
Okay.
You have no proof that he lied.
Right. Can I show you the area that we live in?
Show me the area.
Okay. This is the area where we live. There are homes. Here, that one, this one. So there's really no complaint for him.
We built there, Your Honor, for one purpose.
We got 7 lanes of highway in front of us.
To start a business there, okay? That's the purpose we built there. And everything's up to commercial code. We went and tried to...
Then what you do is you have to appeal. That has nothing to do with your neighbors. Where is your home on this street?
No,
Hold on, I've got mine.
that's
Mine
the
is
back
right
of
here.
it.
This
That's
is
the
mine.
back of it.
This is mine.
I've got their
Two-story
home.
house.
Right here.
With all, they sell cars anyway.
Oh, now you're accusing us of doing
Shop, I don't
something?
want to hear.
Liar.
This is not over. We're going back again.
See, this is another threat. He threatens me all the time.
Absolutely, I can see
All the
that.
time.
You got a hot head.
Yeah.
Man, he's threatened me. if he
Just a
started-
minute. Listen, I want to tell you something. I, living in that community, could understand why some people would be disturbed by having your private house with all of these old used cars in front of them in the parking lot. He has a right to complain that he doesn't like the way this looks in his community. You have a right to bring it through the administrative process. What you did was you got really angry.
Angry.
And what you
Mad.
did, you got really angry. and it was, I assume, vented at Mr. Long.
Yes.
Because Mr. Long also ran a business out of his house.
Right.
All right.
Bottom line, Your Honor, he's jealous. That's the
Of
bottom
us.
line.
He's
okay?
jealous of us.
He's
Just
just
a
plain
second.
jealous.
Bottom line is, you have no lawsuit.
I know we don't have a lawsuit.
So what are you doing here for?
Well, because we thought, because he put us through all of this, I mean,
We've been
he
going,
won't stop.
We've been
He
going
doesn't
through him
stop.
on
He
this
would
for about
stop.
a year.
Listen to me. Whatever happened that night, you see, you don't have to say a word. Yet. Maybe never. What happened that night was you were angry.
Your Honor.
Shut up. Quiet. You got a hot head.
You want to see a lie? I'll show you a lie. The ticket, it says that there was a hole in the van. You show me a hole in the van. Where's a hole in that van? My husband never punched a hole in his van. That is a lie.
Did the
He
police
damaged-
return? Just quiet. Did the police return to your home that evening?
Yes.
Did you, in fact, show them any damage to the van?
Yes, I did.
What did you show them? Can I see it, please?
Now
Your Honor,
Yes.
the damage to the van is long gone. It was a malicious destruction of property that the city prosecutor found enough evidence to pursue. It was dropped. I let it go. It's $250. I don't even care about it anymore. I just would like the Uranians to leave me alone.
Your Honor.
How did... Quiet. Tell me what happened.
As they had been doing for about a month before, coming by weekly, and I have the events all in writing, but weekly, taking pictures of everything that I do. I was getting
Stop
tired.
flipping pages.
I was getting tired of it. And this was basically the last straw, 12 o'clock at night. I have a problem with one of my vans that gets towed home. They jump out of bed and drive over and start snapping pictures right there in front of my property.
Okay.
And it's annoying.
So you went back, you were
I went
hot
over
too.
to talk to them. From the second I drove up, Mr. Urena was in my face. And in the passenger door, looking through, I had the window down. And yes, the conversation got heated, and that's when he punched the door. He was in such a rage, he might not even remember punching the door. Bottom line is, I don't even care about the dent anymore. It's...
You just want to be left alone.
Just leave me alone.
Your Honor, now can I say something? I can prove right here that he's lying with that picture.
Go ahead.
These pictures were dated. His picture is not dated. Okay? These pictures were taken 3 days after he claimed that there was a damage.
7 days.
Okay?
14th.
Now, he claimed that I punched that van, okay? There was no... If you look at that picture, I mean, I'm not a body man, and I'm not an attorney, okay? But I can tell you this. There's not a punch with my fist on that van. That's what he
Screwdriver.
claimed.
He has nothing in his hand.
That's what he claimed, okay? This is the picture. We took the picture 3 days later, and there was no damage to that van.
What do you think, he did it himself?
Yes,
I don't know.
Just a second. You think the police wrote out a ticket? Listen to me.
We don't know,
You
ma'am.
think
We don't know.
We don't know.
police
We don't
wrote-
know.
You didn't let me finish.
Wait.
Okay.
Hothead.
Okay.
Hothead.
I'm not.
Oh, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
We both are.
Oh, sure you are.
Yeah.
You're a hothead.
Both of us.
Well, just look at the evidence, ma'am. That's all you got to see. And that tells you who's lying and who's not lying.
No, it doesn't.
And there's no date on his pictures. Mine are dated.
Mine are dated.
Up to the 14th,
I don't know
7
what
days
the
after.
police did.
We're going to find out when we get home.
Hey,
Yes.
No, ma'am. We're not.
you can change a date.
See, it's never going to end. It's never
You
going to
can
end.
change
No, it
a
won't.
date on a camera.
My
Oh,
originals are dated.
You're not listening to me.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Your complaint was that he caused your husband to be handcuffed and held. Your husband caused himself to be handcuffed and held because your husband refused to sign the ticket. They said, hands together, we're taking you into custody. You were humiliated in front of your wife, maybe your family, maybe your children. That's your fault. But I'm going to tell you something. If you're going to spend your time in a vendetta against this man and your other neighbors, you're going to diminish the quality of your lives and theirs. He's not moving.
Neither
I
am
am
I.
sorry that you invested your money anticipating that you could have a business there, finding that you can't have a business there.
No,
and
we can't. We
spending
are
the-
C1. We are zone C1. Yes, ma'am, we can.
You can't have this kind of,
That kind of
business there.
Right.
So you have a frustration. Get up!
Yeah, this is case number 283 on the calendar, the matter of House versus Sparks. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. You folks have seats, please.
Mr. House, according to your complaint, you have a son whose name is Paul.
Yes, I do.
And the defendant has several children.
Yes.
One of those children is a young girl. What is her name?
Vanessa.
And Paul and Vanessa, who is not here, are friends.
Right, they were.
According to what I've read, your son was at home.
Yes.
And he wasn't supposed to have any company.
Right.
And Vanessa was there.
Vanessa wasn't there, the boys were there.
Our brothers came over, and you believe they stole money from you.
Correct.
And you found this out. You went over to the defendant's home.
Correct.
When you got to the defendant's home, the boys came back from a shopping spree at the local department store.
They had $100 worth of toys sitting there in a bag.
Well, you called the police at some point. Police came over and had a family conference. Is that right?
With my part of the family. The houses were not involved in that part.
And at that conference, you agreed to reimburse Mrs. House
Yes.
for the stolen money. How much did you agree to reimburse her?
I was going to pay back $600.
And you did, in fact, make some payments on that.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And then you stopped.
Yes.
Now, Miss House, what makes you think that the boys, his boys, stole your money?
Simple thing of it is that when he was supposed to come over, I went ahead and I said, I found out who got into this money. They said, yeah, we did.
Who said we did?
One of the boys.
Which boy?
The oldest one.
Who's the oldest? Step up.
And said, yes, I had your money, and we're having fun with it.
And he said this in front of you?
On the phone.
Talking to you?
Yes.
Is that right?
No, I didn't.
What did you say?
When she called my house and asked if we had her money, we told her that we didn't know what happened to the money. First we lied to her, then we told her the truth.
First you lied to her?
Yes.
What did you tell her when you lied to her?
We didn't have her money.
And then you decided to tell her the truth?
Yes.
So let's hear the truth starting from you and your brother. Which brother?
Both of them.
Both of them. Went over to Paul's house.
No.
You never went to Paul's house?
He was at our house. He was at our house with my sister. We walked to his house.
So you did go to his house?
Yeah, but he was at our house first.
Fine. He was at your house first. Nothing got stolen at your house, right?
Not that I know of.
And then you went back to his house?
Yes.
Why?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Well, let's try to think hard. What did you leave your house for? Your sister was home at your house?
Yes.
So Vanessa was home?
Yes.
And they're friends,
Yes.
Vanessa and Paul. So I want you to think back really hard. Why did you go back to Paul's house?
I think it was to get some clothes.
What do you mean you think?
That's what we went there to get, is to get him some clothes.
Why did all three of you have to accompany him to get clothes?
He asked if we'd go with him.
Step up next to your mother. So you went back to his house?
Yes.
And what happened when you got there?
We were sitting on the couch, and then we asked if we could have something to drink. He said, go ahead, and we walked into the kitchen, and we're going through the refrigerator, and he opened one of the doors, and he grabbed a screwdriver out of the drawer, and he went to his mom's room and popped open the door, and we went inside, and then my little brother went around the bed, and he saw a box on the floor. My little brother asked what was in the box. He told us that his mom keeps their money in there. So he asked if we wanted to see it, and both my little brothers said yes, and he popped it open, and he got money out, and then he spread it around.
Spread it around how?
He gave us each amounts of money, like $100, $200.
How much did he give you?
He gave me $200.
How much did he give you?
He gave me like 200, but like I got some more money, like from like them and Paul, and I ended up with like 500.
So you ended up with 500, and you ended up with 200?
Yes.
How much did you end up with?
200.
That's $900, right?
Yes.
What'd you do with it?
We went back to my house. First we went to Circle K and we bought some stuff like candy, and he bought some roses for my sister. We went to my house and he gave the roses to my sister, and they did their kissing stuff. And then we all went to Kmart's.
And?
We bought stuff there.
Where's the stuff that you bought at Kmart?
They took some of the stuff to return it, and we didn't have none of the receipts. They went to try to return it.
You didn't have any receipts?
No, we got rid of them.
What'd you do with the money?
We spent the money that We
You
had.
didn't spend all $900.
Not all of it. Some of it that I kept, I had it hidden, and my dad went in my room and he got it. He went through my room and found it, and he gave it back to the houses.
Well, you only had $200.
Yes.
And is that the $200 that you gave back?
I did return $200 back to the houses.
Well, what about the others? They had another $700. What'd you do about finding that money?
I didn't actually really know about that money until I heard from the houses. All I knew about, when Paul came over with the money, all I saw was $200.
Well, now you know.
But
because your answer, Mr. Sparks, says, my children didn't steal anything, and I don't believe we owe them anything. But they did steal. Well, when was the first time you knew that they stole? Today?
When the houses came over and told me that there was $1,500 missing, they had brought Paul with them.
Okay.
And Paul's story to all of us was that the house got burglarized, and
Everybody lied to cover themselves up.
Yes, ma'am.
But what I don't understand is, if you made an agreement with the police to pay them back, why didn't you pay them back?
I was on unemployment and I could not afford it.
Your boys hid the money in the house. Are you telling me you didn't get it from them?
All I recovered was $200.
Where's the money?
We gave it back.
To whom?
To them.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, because he had $200 hid.
You just told me you had $500.
Yeah, and I spent some of that. And we had some money hid in the room. And we gave it back to them.
No, he got the money from your older brother. $200 only. And where's the money that you had? You still have it hidden?
I spent.
You spent it all. On what?
We all spent it on just toys and stuff.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Paul, you knew it was the wrong thing to go into your mother's room, didn't you?
They forced me to. I knew they had a knife right in their pocket. I beat my dad so he can call the cops so they won't try to stab me or anything.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Karen House claims 14-year-old Tyler Sparks, 10-year-old Nicholas Sparks, and 13-year-old Nick Greenland forced her autistic son Paul to steal money from her home. Karen says the boy's father, Marshall Sparks, won't take responsibility for their crime.
Mr. Sparks, you have to pay him back the money. I mean, you say I was on unemployment, that I could understand, but here you say my children didn't steal anything. They did.
I believe the money would have gotten stolen whether my children were there or not. The houses have told me that this is not something that Paul has not done before.
So what? What kind of a lesson is that? So you say because... Look, let me try to draw an analogy for you. I mean, are you serious with that response as a responsible parent? Let's say you pass by a store and the proprietor of the store has forgotten to lock the door. And there are things in there that you would like. A little stereo set maybe, a clock radio, maybe a small television for your kitchen. And you say to yourself, well, this place is going to get burglarized. Clearly, somebody's going to go in and take property from there because the guy was stupid and he left his door open. And if they're going to burglarize it, some stranger, I might as well do it first. You think that the police would buy that argument?
No, ma'am.
Of course. So are you going to try to tell me again that, well, the money would have gotten stolen anyway, whether my son stole it or somebody else stole it, doesn't make any difference?
No, I believe Paul would have stolen the money whether my children were with him or not.
But your children kept the money, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And they spent it, sir. And you didn't make a sufficient inquiry at the time to prevent them from continuing to spend an additional $700. I believe he was involved. There's no question he was involved, right?
Right.
And you bought your girlfriend some flowers?
No. I went with them to Circle K, and I seen some roses, and they said, well, do you want to get my sister some roses? So we bought one rose, and I went ahead and fixed it up where there was a vase on it.
Paul, you knew it was the wrong thing to go into your mother's room, didn't you?
Yes, they forced me to get in there.
How did they force you?
They went ahead and said, we will split you and my sister up. And at that time, I knew they had a knife right in their pocket because they showed it to me before we went to the house. and they did not go to get some clothes. They went there to think of snooping around my house and go in my niece's drawer, my room, and tried to think of a way to get me open it. At that time when they asked me to open it, I beat my dad so he can shortly call the cops and report it why I'm in there so they won't try to stab me or anything.
Did you beep your dad?
Yes, I did. He did not answer.
Is Vanessa in your class at school?
Yes, she is.
How long has Vanessa been in your class in school?
Last year and this year.
Is your daughter in a special education class
Yes,
as
ma'am.
well? What's her diagnosis?
Down syndrome.
And Vanessa is like your girlfriend?
Yes, she did go in the house before I went to their house. Because after we got from church, I was looking for tape and I did not want her to wait out there. I was being nice. And then when we got to his house, he asked me for a cigarette because I was trying to get my mom to quit, and I had some cigarettes in my room. And I'm trying to quit, though.
Do you smoke?
Yes, I'm trying to quit, though. And then the brothers went ahead and asked their dad, can I please go to Paul's house? And I was like, I did not have anything planned to go over my house.
Okay, Paul. Did you keep any of this money?
They put $100 in my pocket, but I did not spend it. I was trying to save it and hand it back to my mom.
Did you give it back to her?
No, they took it.
When did they take it?
Before I went to night church.
Was that the same day when you had all been in your mom's room?
Yes.
And they took the money back from you? Who took it back from you?
Lucas, the oldest one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Paul, why don't you sit down? Thank you.
Okay.
You getting the picture?
Yes.
You're not nice.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You ever appear before family court, Judge, before?
Yes.
Was it a man or a woman?
It was a man.
Speak up!
It was a man.
Was he nice?
Yes.
Kind? I'm not!
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 17-year-old special needs student Paul House says his girlfriend's brothers forced him at knife point to steal money from his mother's home. The boy's father, Marshall Sparks, says Paul has a history of stealing money.
You been in trouble before?
Yes.
You on probation out of juvenile court?
No.
Were you on probation out of juvenile court?
Yes.
For how long?
90 days.
For what?
Burglary.
So you're on probation at the time police came to your house?
No, ma'am.
Had he completed his
Yes,
probation?
ma'am.
When?
It would have been back in 1999, November, possibly.
You married, sir?
No, ma'am. Single parent.
You have 4 children.
Yes, ma'am.
These 3 and your daughter.
Actually, the middle child is like a stepson.
Explain that to me.
His mother and I are engaged.
Other than Lucas, have either one of these other 2 boys been arrested?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
For burglary?
Shoplifting and burglary.
How much was taken from your house, Miss House?
$1,340
You got back 200.
and $2.
So what your outstanding is $1138.
True.
You better pay that money.
He put me through misery.
I'm going to tell you something. Aside from the fact that your sons are thieves, to suggest that they are operating on an even playing field with Paul is outrageous, Mr. Sparks.
I did not intend to make that accusation.
Well,
He
that's
kept
what,
on.
that's what it appears in your answer, sir. What you said was, I believe that Paul stole the money to impress my daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's not true. They stole the money because they threatened someone who is clearly not as competent as they are. Stand up. Uncross your arms, both of you, and stand up. Over there. Right here. You reach a certain point in your life when you take your hands out of your pocket. Don't even think about putting it in your pocket. Did you ever appear before a family court judge before?
No.
What?
No.
You?
Yes.
Was it a man or a woman?
It was a man.
Speak up.
It was a man.
Was he nice?
Yes.
Spoke nicely to you?
Yes.
Kind?
Yes.
I'm not! Because evidently, sir, that nice, kind, sweet family court judge made Zippo impression on you. Because after you completed your probation, you went out and at least did one thing that I know about, which is this thing. So being nice to you didn't work. You got it?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Seems to me that your father has a very full plate. You ever been arrested, sir?
Yes.
When was the last time you were arrested? When you have to think it's trouble.
It's been a while. It was back in, I believe, October of '98.
October of '98 is not so long ago. I have food in my refrigerator that's older than 1998. So it's, believe me, it's not so long ago. What were you arrested for?
Child support.
I'm not talking about child support. I'm talking about for a misdemeanor or a felony having nothing to do with child support, sir. When was your last arrest?
Probably February of '98.
For what?
Disturbing the peace.
You reach a crossroads. Sometimes you reach it when you're 10, sometimes you reach it when you're 12, sometimes you reach it when you're 30. You can either have a life when you're a bum. You know what a bum is?
Yes.
Or you can be a good person. Right now, 3 of you are on your ways to becoming a bum. You, and you. You victimize somebody, that's him, who you know you can victimize because you're not nice people. And you should be more sympathetic because you have a sister who is also disabled. Right?
Yes.
How would you like it if somebody victimized your sister? How would you like it if somebody, because of her disability, took her to their house and sexually abused her? How'd you like that?
Be very mad.
So, you have a choice. And I certainly hope if you ever come before another family court judge, they don't do you a favor and be nice to you. They do you a favor and put you in jail. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of the complaint, which is $1,138. I hope you're very proud of yourself. Thank you, Bert.
Mm-hmm. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Jones, according to the complaint that I've read, the defendant, who was your former girlfriend and your fiancé, owes you for certain things, according to you. You say that while you were either engaged or dating, a car was purchased that you paid for.
Yes.
How much was the car?
$1,623.
Okay. And that while the car was in her possession, being used by the defendant, and the 2 of you were together, you maintained the car. So when the car needed repairs, who took it in?
I did in the beginning. We moved to Little Rock, and I was gone 10 hours a day, and I entrusted Kelly to make the maintenance.
So she took the car in to be repaired?
No, she didn't take it in to be repaired. The car henceforth died. The motor seized from lack of attention, mechanical attention, and it's dead.
So? So's your romance. Tell me about this loan for $1,623.
We had an agreement when I bought the car that she would repay me. This was the agreement from the beginning of our relationship.
No, just tell me about the car. I don't know.
The car was, I will purchase a car if she reimburses me.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Just a second.
It is true.
When did you purchase the car? When did you purchase the car?
I purchased the car $415.99.
And when did your relationship eventually terminate?
Officially it terminated Thanksgiving last year.
The repairs, the upkeep on the car was paid by you.
Correct.
From May of 1999 through November of 1999, how much did she pay you back on this alleged loan?
$0.
Why didn't you discuss it with her?
I did, many times.
Yes. And what happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened. I talked.
And yet you continued to pay for the repairs.
Correct.
Even though she wasn't paying for the car.
Correct.
Car now is useless.
Correct.
Well, you don't get much for $1,600 for a Mercedes. How old a Mercedes was this?
I believe it was a '69.
What year?
It was in 1970, and he paid $1,000 for it. It was a donation car. And
Here's
he
the
paid $1,000 for the car, Your Honor.
Let me see.
There's the purchase.
Just a second. When did you buy the car?
$415.99.
Where?
From memory lane. It was a donation card.
That's not, the date's not correct, Your Honor.
It is. That's the receipt from memory lane.
Who went to pick out the car?
I did.
Where was she?
At home.
How come you didn't go with him?
Because he was going to stop by and look at the car after work.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to go with him and spend all day sitting in a car from 7 a.m. in the morning until 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
So he went by himself?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of an arrangement did you have with regard to paying him back for this car?
There was no arrangement at the time we moved to Little Rock. We only had one vehicle. I was not working because I did not have a car. And when he bought me the car, there was never, it was a gift because I wanted to go to work.
Did you start working immediately after
Yes,
you
ma'am.
purchased the car?
Yes, ma'am.
No, she didn't.
How much later?
Little over a month because her
Okay,
niece
so-
and nephew moved in and she had to babysit them for a
Okay,
month.
so let's say a
half.
month. But within a month, she went back to work.
Part-time.
She went to work. But she didn't start paying you back for the car. Did you ask her to sign a note for this car?
No.
Your Honor,
I did not.
Why not?
Because at the time she's my fiance and I trusted what she told me. I don't...
Mr. Jones, do you think that if you got married, she was going to give you back this money for the car?
Yes, I did. I believe she would at least start contributing money to the relationship, which she never did.
That's a different thing. Contributing money to the relationship is a different thing than paying you back on a specific loan. So is what you're telling me that you believe that were your engagement to have developed into a marriage, she would have still owed you this $1,600?
Yes. That was the agreement we had made.
I don't believe that. Let's get on to the other things that you're suing her for. You're suing her for the return of the engagement ring that he's entitled to. You
Yes,
understand
ma'am.
that?
Yes, ma'am.
The engagement was broken, in my judgment, an engagement ring is given in contemplation of marriage, and if the contract is breached, for whatever reason, whoever breaches it, he's entitled to the ring back. So?
Yes, ma'am, I agree. The ring was lost and stolen 6 months before we even started having any problems.
It's not true. No,
yes,
no, it's
Your
not.
Honor, it is true.
No, she said she lost the engagement ring in December. Before she moved out of the house. She informed me a month before she moved out.
That's what I'm asking you.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking you. Before the relationship was terminated,
I had
she
told
came
him
home one day and said the ring was either lost or stolen? Is
No.
that what, well, how did it happen, sir?
No, we ended the relationship at Thanksgiving when she stranded me at the airport and left me there, and when she picked me up, she got drunk. That's why I ended the relationship.
I don't care why you ended the relationship,
Then
sir.
she told me after this, several weeks after this, that she had lost the engagement ring. And she did not tell me when she lost it. She may have lost it 6 months before, but she did not inform me of that.
Well, didn't you see her not wearing the ring?
I did not. I didn't ask her about it.
He asked me several times, Kelly, where's your ring?
No,
I said, I'm
that's not
looking
true.
for it.
She
I
never-
think I
she
left it
never
at work.
looked
It was
for it.
stolen at work. I know it was stolen
She never.
at work.
Why? How could it be stolen? Someone stole it off her finger at work.
How can you not-
Up until then, I had never seen her take it off.
Up until when?
Up until the time she told me it was gone.
You hadn't noticed it not on her hand? Did she
I did
wear it?
not.
I mean, I'm not talking about the Hope diamond here, because according
It
to
was
you...
a 1-carat platinum diamond ring. How can you not notice it?
Listen to me.
Excuse me.
Wherever it was, you got a good deal, because according to you, you spent $650 for the ring. Is that right?
That is correct.
$650 for a 1-carat platinum diamond ring. I want to know where you do your shopping. I'm going.
There's the receipt.
Can I have it, please? Okay, good. Then you claim, Mr. Jones, that she owes you for some damage to your property that was done by her dogs. Want to tell me about that?
Well, there's a lot of vet bills that lead up into that. Yeah.
I'm not
some-
interested in the vet bills.
Yeah, her dogs chewed up a couple pairs of my work boots, a Christmas gift I received from my grandmother the year before, and a carpet that I had purchased.
Were you living together at the time?
Yes, we were out in the house in Little Rock.
So, you expect her to reimburse you for
I
that?
only expect her to reimburse me on the items she said she would. She was responsible for the dogs. They were her dogs.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Matthew Jones says his ex-fiancée, Kelly Bell, owes him for an unpaid loan and damage to his belongings caused by her dogs. Matthew says Kelly also owes him for a lost engagement ring.
Are you telling me you said to her, you have to replace these boots because these are your dogs
Incorrect. That is not what I said. That
I
is
didn't
not
think
how,
so.
That is not how the conversation transpired.
Well, how did the conversation transpire?
What transpired is I've got destroyed boots. I'm upset. They're
So?
very expensive work boots.
Yes.
Kelly volunteered to reimburse me for them. They were her dogs. I never approached her with, hey, you owe me. I've never said, hey, you owe me, ever in this relationship. All I'm asking for is what we agreed on orally that she would reimburse me for personal bills I incurred maintaining her.
Mr. Jones?
Because she's living with me, that makes me responsible for her car.
You're angry.
I'm hurt.
Well, you may be angry, you may be hurt, and all I can tell you is what I've said to many women who were usually standing in your place with the guy on this side. You're really much better off for yourself to put a period and get over it. Now, I think that you are absolutely entitled to $650 from her for the engagement ring. I'm going to tell you why. If through her own negligence, unless she can show me a police report where she filed a report that the ring was stolen, the ring was misplaced, if it was misplaced at all, due to her negligence. And you shouldn't be out that money. I am not persuaded, however, that the car that was purchased was a loan.
Then why would I buy a car? I already owned a vehicle.
You bought a car because the two of you...
I would not buy her
listen to
another
me.
one unless I was going to be reimbursed.
I don't believe that, Mr.
I'm the
Jones.
only one
telling
who
you.
was working at the
I'm
time.
telling
I
you.
was the only one providing an income for both of us. I was paying every
Absolutely
bill,
right.
and
Mr.
she
Jones.
needed to get to work. She
Mr.
refused
Jones,
to work.
you are.
And she had to come
You're
up with a
speaking and I'm
vehicle.
speaking. I can tell you only one thing, sir. I can't hear you when I'm speaking, because when I'm speaking, I only listen to one voice. What you just said to me further emphasizes the fact that you didn't expect at the time to be reimbursed for this car, because you said to me, at the time I purchased this car, I was supporting the entire household. She wasn't working. She had no source of income. I wanted to get her working. That's why she got the car, because she couldn't get a job unless she had a car. I do not believe, and I am the judge of the facts in this trial, that there was a valid agreement for her to repay you for this car that either you paid $1,000 for or $1,600 for, or the bills to maintain the car. According to you, she had absolutely no way of repaying that money at the time that you bought the car. As far as the dogs are concerned, that's sort of foolish. People living together with an idea of getting married.
That's not what I'm suing for on the dogs. I am suing for vet bills, money I had to pay to the vet to maintain the dog's health. I'm not, I didn't
Don't
even,
do it.
You don't let someone you love dogs die because they can't afford to
Did
pay
you buy
the
her
dog.
the dogs?
No, I did not buy her the dogs.
She bought the dogs herself?
They were free. They were mutts.
Who brought the dogs home?
I drove in my car to pick up one from Little Rock. The other one I got as a stray from a gentleman
So the
I worked
answer
with
is
at work.
you brought the dogs into the house.
No.
Mr. Jones.
So I got to suffer?
No, just answer my question, sir. You brought the dogs into the
I
house.
only brought one dog in. She carried the other dog in.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $650 as indicated. I believe she owes you for the ring. Miss Bell, you're well out of it.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He beat the dogs in the head with the boots that they chewed up. And that's all I have to say. Trust no one but God and your animals. That's the only comment.
I didn't bring up any dirt. I didn't bring up anything about that. I just wanted what she promised to pay me back.
And now the next case.
All parties on Jerome versus Gray. Step forward, please.
30-year-old computer support technician Michael Jerome is suing his ex-wife, 28-year-old administrative technician Christina Gray, for an overpayment of child support. Christina is countersuing for attorney fees and alienation from their daughter.
Mr. Jerome, you and the defendant had once been married. You have one child. You have a daughter together?
Yes.
Who was 8?
Yes.
For a period of time after you were divorced or while separated, your daughter lived with your former wife. More recently, after a lengthy custody battle, I assume, you were awarded full-time custody of your daughter.
Yes.
There was a time when child support, which was being paid to the defendant, was coming right out of your check.
That's right.
And your claim is that the money continued to come out of your check after the time that your daughter came to reside with you on a full-time basis.
Yes.
So you want to be reimbursed for the overpayment for child support. In what amount do you believe you have overpaid child support?
$642, I believe.
When did your daughter come to live with you on a full-time basis?
Christmas Eve, 1999.
And do you have pay stubs to show child support paid after that date?
I have the accounting from the child support.
I'll see it. All right. Defense to his request for the overpayment is, in fact, he still owes you some money.
Yes.
In arrears.
That's correct.
I'm looking at this, sir. Do you still owe arrears on the original order?
No, I don't. When I was awarded custody, the judge made it clear that he was awarding attorney's fees in the amount to offset the arrearage, and we would have a clean slate.
Well, let me see that order. Where he says that. Let me see. Oh, well, that's very easy, sir. I don't know why you're here. Because according to the printout from the support collection unit that you've given me, you did, in fact, pay, pursuant to the income deduction order, after your daughter was in your custody, an amount of $642.
Yes.
That's clear. It is also clear from what you have given me that you are thousands of dollars in arrears on the original order from when your daughter was living with your former wife, right? And what the court has said, yes. It says total billed, $13,000 and change. Total to date collected, $9,172. So even according to this, giving you credit for the $642, you still owe her over $4,000 in arrears.
That's not right.
Well, that's what this paper says, sir.
The judge ordered there to be a zero balance at the time of the transfer.
Show me where the judge said that there's a zero balance. Take a look. Well, that's a different order. That's a good order. I don't know how you managed that. Judge must have been very angry with you because this order says that the petitioner, that's him, has incurred $5,043 in reasonable attorney's fees and that he is in arrears of approximately $5,043. Petitioner has fully paid and satisfied, therefore, the judgment for child support up to and through April 1st of 2000. End of case. So he must have been angry at the protracted nature of this case for some reason. In any event, you owe him $642. That's the overpayment. All right. Now, let's get to your counterclaim. Ms. Gray, you're counterclaiming for $5,000 for mental anguish and lost wages as a result of endless court appearances and mediations.
Correct, Your Honor.
I don't think that you get paid for that, do you?
Your Honor, this is 9 years of ongoing court battles that have got nothing to do with anything but him being angry because I left 8 years ago and taking my daughter.
I assume that there were periods of time when you were not visiting with your daughter, is that right?
Yes.
And were those periods of time during which there were court-ordered visitations?
Yes.
Ms. Gray, what I'm telling you is I'm an old family court practitioner, and there has to be some very serious circumstance before a judge will transfer custody of a child from one parent to another.
That's what my attorney told me, too. That's why he was so confident we wouldn't lose Chelsea.
Well, your attorney may have told you that. However, what I'm telling you is when it appears that the child is being deprived of an ongoing and meaningful relationship with one parent because another parent is frustrating orders of visitation, after a while what happens is the judge says, I'm going to give you one more chance, and if we don't follow through with it, you're going to lose custody. And your attorney says to you, that's never going to happen. They're never going to take your little girl away from you. Does that sound a little bit familiar to you?
Very familiar.
Right.
Never mind that he denied the visitation.
Because aside from serious abuse or neglect, that's the only reason that judges will take a child away from one parent who has been the custodial parent for years, because that parent is frustrating the relationship with the child with the other parent. Judge got fed up. You count the claims dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $642. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Đây là sản phẩm sô công bi mâm có cái công dụng hỗ trợ tăng cường việc tiêu hóa, tăng khả năng hấp thụ, giúp bồi bổ cơ thể, giúp bé ăn ngon, ngủ ngon, hỗ trợ tăng cường sức đề kháng và hạn chế cái tình trạng là biếng ăn ở trẻ nhỏ. Và các cái đối tượng mà nên sử dụng cái dòng Secumbi-mum này thì đó là các bé trẻ gầy yếu, kém ăn, ăn không ngon miệng, ngủ không ngon giấc, những bé mới ốm dậy hoặc là đóng trong thời kỳ dưỡng bệnh, cần bồi bổ cơ thể, tăng cường sức đề kháng và nâng cao cái sức khỏe. Và các cái thành phần có trong dòng Secumbi-mum thì đối với dòng Secumbi-mum này thì là một dòng đạm thủy phân, và thành phần thì gồm có yến sao, chiết xuất trùng ngây, chiết xuất quả Việt Quất, thì mâm kẽm, gluconat, đạm thủy phân, amin, cao men bia, taurine, vitamin B5, vitamin BB, vitamin B1, vitamin B2, axit folic, và các phù liệu thì gồm sẽ có đường kính trắng, mipazi, kali sobiti, axit citric, natri, citra, hương trái cây tổng hợp, nước tinh khiết vừa đủ. Và cách sử dụng dòng Secumbi-mum thì chúng ta sẽ lắc đều trước khi uống, có thể pha vào cháo, sữa và bột hoặc là các cái món ăn dặm cho bé. Trẻ từ 6 tháng tuổi cho đến 1 tuổi thì chúng ta cần phải tham khảo ý kiến thầy thuốc, bác sĩ trước khi mà chúng ta dùng cho bé. Còn đối với bé từ 1 cho đến 3 tuổi thì chúng ta sẽ uống 10 ml một lần, thì hai lần trên một ngày. Còn đối với trẻ từ 3 cho đến 9 tuổi thì chúng ta sẽ uống 10 ml trên một lần, 2 cho đến 3 lần trên một ngày. Còn đối với trẻ trên 9 tuổi và người lớn thì chúng ta có thể uống 10 ml trên một lần, và một ngày chúng ta sẽ sử dụng 3 lần. Thì các mẹ đang có con biếng ăn, kém hấp thụ, ngủ không ngon thì nên sử dụng cái dòng Secumbi-mum này cho bé chúng ta.